Yo, 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 what is up, everybody? It's your man, Sean Zittel, holding it down from the office. Brendan Taylor upstairs, crashing at the house for the night while he's in town from North Carolina covering the fight. And our guy, Radio Raheem, of course, the great Radio Raheem, my co host of About That Action, going back home in the LA area, not in England this weekend, covering some fights on the boardwalk at Santa Monica Pier. And we are here to do the first of what we hope is many shows, many lives between the three of us. And what better time to start than right before a big fight in Las Vegas, a big fight, in Las Vegas. Rolly Romero defending the WBA welterweight title against Teofimo Lopez. Me and Brennan have been covering this one here in Las Vegas. Raheem is watching from LA. Raheem, you'll be in England next week for Moses Italma, right? And Flip Hergovich.
I will be in Kazakhstan for the boxing IBA Boxing Day, 27th and 28th. And then I'll be in Astana, Kazakhstan, watching Moses Italma live. And we're going to crack on. I'm hoping we will get our perspectives in on a live for that fight. I'm not so bothered, Sean, to hit these shows up in person anymore. Like if I were in London, of course, I would hit the fight if I weren't doing my own event around it. But to be fair, I think the audience deserves a better commentary than what the broadcast is putting forward. And if we're at the fight, we can't offer them that elevated level of entertainment and engagement. I can't offer them the Sean Zittel breakdown round by round if we're sitting ringside. And they need it. They need it. So I've foregone most ringside fights, and I know how big Moses Italma's future seems to be in everybody's diaries and their forecasting. But for me, this is still... this is a vacant title. These guys are, having an opportunity to fight for an opportunity to be the guy. It's going to be a cracking show, but I don't need to be there yet. You know what I mean? I think I need to be talking to you fellas and giving the audience the kind of insight that they need and not some circle jerk of a broadcast that's just telling us how great a guy who hasn't done anything yet is supposed to be.
Correct. Yeah, it sounds like Raheem is channeling his Dr. Dre from 1995. I've been there, I've done that.
You got guns, I got straps.
Yep. But BT, man, you've been holding it down. We were at the weigh-in, we were at the press conference, we were at the kickoff media workout, and we were joking during the week. At first, we felt this fight was flat. Heading into it felt like at first when we went to the media workout, this fight should be at the Virgin. It almost feels like, or the Cosmo, or something that seats 5,000. I was thinking maybe the MSG Theater would be the right. Maybe that still is the best place for this fight, really. But once Teofimo turned it up a notch at the press conference, we finally started to feel that real Las Vegas fight week energy a little bit, at least. But just before you go, Brendan, we're watching Trinidad versus Mayorga last night, Raheem, because we're watching Ricardo Mayorga fights in commemoration of it being a Rolando Romero as the A-side fight week. Because Rolly, as I said years ago, feels like this era's Ricardo Mayorga. And when Trinidad and Mayorga had their fight, it was in October of 2004. May of 2004, they had their first press conference. Mayorga's talking mad shit. July 26th, 2004, they have another press conference in New York. By the time that fight got to fight week in New York, the fight was already sold and on fire. This fight and too many fights in today's boxing are the opposite. They announce it a couple months out, and there's not a lot of great promotion. They don't get the ball rolling, and this fight was a example of that to the utmost. Lots of awkward, odd exchanges. A lot of, are they friends or are they not friends? And nobody really gives a shit one way or the other about that much. But then finally, Teofimo, he brings some edge. He brings some fire Thursday, which is, hey, it's about time. The fight's in 2 days now, and I don't think tickets are selling that great for it. But better late than never. And I do think and wish they could have done without the Prince routine at the end. They should have left on the high note of that below the surface animosity bubbling to the surface, left it there. See you on Saturday. But then they went back to the awkward, weird stuff. But anyways, BT, go do your thing, man. What have you been thinking so far from Vegas?
I've been thinking that, first of all, I made a joke with you earlier today that they're doing all the events at the Park MGM and the tickets ain't selling that well, so maybe it should have just been at the Park MGM. But nah, man, Rolly's been weird. Rolly's been weird to kind of gauge because he's made a big deal about his newly found faith, coming to Jesus and those kind of things. But then, as you alluded to, Sean, Rolly is also beginning to show like the old Rolly a little bit with the shirt down and things like that, wearing it open like he did for the Tank press conference. I really do feel like if Teofimo Lopez were to go in there and put on a performance, that maybe Rolly doesn't retire right after this fight, but I would say it's not that far off. I feel like when you hear statements like, learn from me, I won't be here forever, which he's been saying a lot. He was saying it to me months ago when I saw him down in Florida. On a subconscious level, I don't know how much longer Rolly really wants to continue boxing. And I also think that he was the more emotional of the two yesterday when Tio pretty much questioned how real he was as a friend, and that was the one thing that really seemed to get under his skin. So I look at the fight, stylistically, Sean think I know people think it's going to be a bit an exciting fight because they're both aggressive fighters, but I see it as a chess match. I think it'll be that chess match that Ismail Salah said it will be, and I don't know. I still don't see an exciting fight. I'm not buying that it'll be this exciting fight yet. I think it goes the distance. What do you guys think?
I think it should be at the MGM Grand. Like, this is a classic MGM Grand fight. I don't even know why that wasn't a baked in the cake given. People forget. That's not even a diss, man. That's hallowed ground. It's that, PBC night after night, every promoter's had a fight in there. It's the perfect size for the venue. It's the perfect energy, that crowd filling out onto the ground floor at the bottom of the escalator, all of that little foyer where we catch the fighters coming out who are ringside and get their reaction. The MGM Grand for these two guys would have been the perfect setting. And part of that is, I agree that maybe this fight doesn't end up being some kind of barn burner, but it also could be a damn entertaining scrap. Like, the part about this thing is we don't know. Both of these guys are so unpredictable. You don't know which version of each one you're going to get. We certainly don't know how they're going to gel, especially since they've had so much time in the ring, in the gym already together, their weird relationship, the fact that Tio's coming up to 47 for the first time, that maybe Rolly is a little inflated by his win against Ryan Garcia, and who knows if ring rust is set in or not. Like, there's so many unknowables, and these guys are so inconsistent, not just mentally, but in their performance. It's a crapshoot as to what we're going to get. The energy, though, that I saw today at the weigh-in, I'm 100% Rolly on the energy. I like the stare down. I like the press conference swag. I liked him fucking off the interview at the end. The guy, for me, this fight week has done no wrong. I feel like, and I said this in our final episode about that action, Sean, that I still feel Tio searching. He's almost looking for an identity in this fight, like who he even wants to be in this promotion. And when he doesn't, and when he's not assertive, when he's not like sharp about what he's there to do and who he's going to be, he gets into his kind of weird, almost broadcaster like if he's one of the broadcasters, you know what I mean? He doesn't sound like he's the guy doing the fighting. He sounds like he's talking about somebody else that's going to be doing the fighting. That's concerning. I haven't seen anything from Senior that gives me any more confidence that he's going to be any better in the corner. I mean, maybe he'll be sober. I don't know if that's better or worse, honestly. It seems like, it seems like a loose fit over there on the Teofimo side. But with that said, the experience Teo comes into the ring with, the amount of opposition, the type of opposition, I should say, he's faced, it's definitely a leg up for him. If he comes as the Teo that we've seen in the past when he's on his game, I mean, it's his fight to lose. There's no question he's an upside favorite. But whether or not we see that guy and whether or not Rolly brings someone better than we've seen because he's full of confidence, because he's comfortable at the weight, he's never not in shape. He's clearly well in shape. He doesn't look, I mean, he looks like he's ready to defend his title and son his homie.
No, he looked like $1 million on the scales today. He is the bigger, stronger welterweight. He is the bigger punch. He is the stronger man. And like we said on the last episode of About That Action, if you're not getting better, you're getting worse. And Rolly Romero has gotten better under Ishmael Salas, more patient. But, you know, when you said Teo was searching for something, it's funny. I remember Teddy Atlas, who actually had a hilarious quote when we watched them on the drive back home. He's like, I feel like I'm standing on clouds in this fight. He's like, because there's nothing solid about that I can cling to for either guy. That makes me say, I like my guy. But, but
he was going crazy.
I remember another Teddy quote before the Canelo Golovkin rematch, where he said, you know what I think Canelo's gonna do? I'm gonna be me. I'm gonna be me. And I remember Raheem laughed at that when I told him I agreed with Teddy and I like that. The problem Raheem's getting at is, who is you? Who are you? What? And
he's asking himself that question, so we damn sure can't answer it.
Well, but what I saw finally was a fighter. I saw Thursday the guy break away from all the word salads and all the weird, the universe,
monologues,
right? That don't go anywhere, that are incoherent, and I finally saw the guy, you know, fuck you, Rolly, and I'm gonna beat your ass and all that kind of stuff, you know, and you were never on my level, and I beat you up. I was better than you then. I'm better than you now. I will always be better than you. I'm the better fighter. And I think that's when you saw Teo Sr. have that wave of relief and almost like a slight euphoria when he pounded the table and he said, fuck yeah, because I think in that moment, he's releasing, that's what I've been waiting for from my son. That guy, the guy who was brash and confident that beat Vasyl Lomachenko. And I definitely agree with both of you guys that Rolly's got a head of steam. He feels very confident that he's going to little bro his little sister, that as he calls him, and Teofimo. That could play into Teofimo's hands.
Correct.
You know, on my channel, Rolly said, I'm just going to walk him down. And you never do something because you just feel like doing it, even if it's not the most efficient way of getting something done. I just feel like it. Now, that being said, I fully believe and kind of know that if Rolly needs to do something else besides walk him down, then he'll do that if that's what he needs to do to win the fight. I don't think he's married to that kind of game plan. But it could be a peek into a guy feeling himself, a little full of himself heading into this fight. And I commend him for his journey with the Lord and with Jesus. I truly do. And I need to read my Bible as well as he's read his. But there's still an air of him being full of himself. And if because he is the bigger man and he is the bigger puncher. And if he's going to open up an exchange with Teofimo Lopez instead of do the things that befuddle him, that also won him the fight against Ryan Garcia, and that's counterpunch, have timing, have patience. And if he tries to engage Teo more than maybe is advantageous to him, he allows Teofimo Lopez to do what he is best at and what he is brilliant at, and that's be a counterpuncher. Now, that's part of why Shakur Stevenson, well, even by his temperament, is only going to throw but so many punches unless he has 1,000 punches per fight William Zepeda in front of him, or Jamel Herring, who just can't fuck with him, and he could just tee off in spots. Otherwise, Shakur is going to be economical. But another reason why Shakur was economical against Teo is you don't want to give this guy a whole lot to punch off of in the pocket. And so if Rolly kind of disregards a little bit of Salas's thing, yeah, I hear you, and this is what worked against Ryan, but I want to little bro him. Like you said, Raheem, that's going to give Teofimo chances to do what he does best as a counterpuncher. And for all that we've given him credit in the weeks leading up to this fight for getting better under Salas, ultimately, he always got he had the better of Ryan Garcia 10 years ago when they sparred at Floyd Mayweather's gym. He's just something about their styles. He gets the better of Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia doesn't move his head. He doesn't have the upper body fluidity of Teo. He doesn't have as versatile an attack and a skill set as Teofimo. He's taller than him. He's bigger than him. He punches harder than him. But Teo has a deeper bag. And so when they sparred 10 years ago, Rolly gave it to Ryan then. And when Teo and Rolly sparred 10 years ago, Teo gave it to him. And that's why Teo reminded him of that. So that makes me lean towards Teofimo a little bit there too, that he was the better fighter than him 10 years ago. And this performance against Ryan, yeah, he got better under Salas, but he did that 10 years ago against Ryan. So why can't the opposite be true against Teofimo? Teofimo can do well against him just like he did 10 years ago. They're welterweights now. They're not lightweights. They're full-grown men. They're not young men at lightweights. And Teo hadn't lost back then. He had all that pep in his step. Rolly started late at 16 or 17. He has a lot more experience now to close that experience gap. But if he did it 10 years ago, why can't he do it now?
I mean, speaking of opposites, there's a whole opposite narrative available to Teofimo. He got shut out essentially by Shakur, but we haven't seen him fight since. It looks like a guy who's already peaked, maybe on the downside. He's elevating in weight, chasing another champion, fighting his boy. He had the disaster in the corner, the perfect storm, right? So clearly you would extrapolate from that Teofimo might be on the decline. He might be in trouble, which makes room for a potential Rolly Romero upset. But there's another narrative that is an opposite. What if this fight and the spanking that he got from Shakur is that fight where he does learn from his opponent, where he is in with such a class fighter? We haven't seen him since, so we can't say what this fight taught him. And knowing that he might go back in the corner and can't depend on his father. The fact that he aired his dad out in public, told him I'm going to support you. I'm going to advocate for you. That was what my post-fight conversation was about. It wasn't because that was true and I should have been listening to you. He criticized what he was told in the corner. He basically said, no, this wasn't even my fault. This was your fault. Well, that's a terrible moment in the fight they were in. But what about if that's the moment where he breaks out of his handcuffs with his father, who really isn't a quality enough trainer to be training him at this level, and he says he doesn't know who he is? Maybe on Saturday night he gets to be the guy he always believed he should have been. Before, he couldn't do it because he was so committed to what his father was telling him he needed to do. He was advocating for his father and showing his father the respect, as he said in the interview with Rick Reno, wanting his father's love like any son does. All of that shit going on in your head. And, listen, I'm not trying to be super rough on Senior, but he's a dad. He's not a great trainer. He's not elevated Lopez. He's not going to elevate Lopez. He'd be best really focusing on becoming a better father and let somebody else do the training. If this is that son's coming of age moment, coming of age fight, if this is the time when Teo's like, okay, I have to be me now. I have to find and prove that the identity, all these arguments that maybe I was having with myself while listening to my father telling me what to do and thought maybe I should be doing something different. Or maybe there is a lesson to be learned in the last fight that I'm not reiterating in the gym with Senior in the corner. He shakes those shackles off and maybe becomes a version of himself that none of us have seen before, because he's actually confident now and being able to tell his father to shut it down. Let his father become a water boy, and Lopez think through the fights and through the rounds on his own. His father tells him something that he finds useful. Great, he employs it. If he's in there, rambling and shit, he just throws that out the window and does what he believes he should be doing. It could be that fight. We could look on Saturday and be like, who the fuck is this guy? That moment is as available to Lopez as is the moment where we say he'll never be the Lopez we've seen before again. It's his fight to lose. I don't think anybody who's fair-minded or watches both of these guys' career would go into this fight saying that Rolly Romero is the more talented fighter or Rolly Romero is the more accomplished fighter. His advantage is Rolly is a puncher's chance, and that his confidence is through the roof. And you still, even with his confidence being through the roof, him having a puncher's chance, you still have to rely on a shortcoming from Lopez for Lopez to win, for Lopez to lose. He either has to have a chin that doesn't have the resistance at 47, or he has to be not focused mentally for the fight, and Rolly's pressure dominates him because Teofimo's not using his skill set the way that he could, or his taking advantage of his talent. Something's got to be wrong for Teofimo to lose to Rolly, even at his best, I would say. If something is right with Teofimo, if something is better, if he has righted something that has been wrong in the ship all along, we might just see a phenomenal performance. This might be a new lease on life, a new chapter for Lopez, and he's so in his head that a change like that, a turning of a corner like that, really could show us somebody that is like got a few more years of rapid improvement once he breaks out of the shell that his father's put around him.
So two things.
Real quick, let's give a shout out to
Go ahead.
Chirinos. Thank you for the $10. Says, FYI, Bomac and Tim Bradley both said Teofimo will win, and they are experts like you. Thank you for putting us in that class.
We're experts.
That's also Mo as well. So go ahead, BT.
So, when a fighter moves up in weight, oftentimes the power doesn't carry up. Teo's power clearly didn't carry up from 35 to 40. Conventional wisdom says that shouldn't be the case at 47, and it might not be, but you don't always got to be the biggest puncher when you move up in weight. All you got to do is be more accurate. And I think, there's a possibility with Rolly wanting to little bro Teofimo Lopez that he'll have plenty of chances to be the more accurate puncher in this fight. I think he could potentially hurt Rolly with an accumulation of shots. And another interesting caveat or storyline, underrated storyline, is also in the corner, but it's not with Junior. It's actually, he's got Milton LaCroix back in his corner, who he had for the Barbosa fight, which was his last really great performance. And Milton LaCroix was great compared to what we've been seeing over the last few years. You know what I mean? But I think in this fight, you're going to see Teo go back to basics. You're going to see him, because that's what they've said. I mean, I don't know what back to basics means, because Milton LaCroix is the kind of coach that tells all his fighters to box their hands down. He thinks that, it's better to box your hands down than your hands up. So it'll be intriguing to see how that dynamic is in the corner. I think Teofimo Lopez really needs to get out to a good start in this fight. He can ill afford to let Rolly bank rounds early, kind of like with Ryan. He got that early knockdown against Ryan Garcia, and it put him in a power position to dictate the fight. And Ryan put his hands in his pocket, and it became a very low output fight. But the kind of low output fight where Rolly could use his legs, nick rounds that way, outbox him. So those are a couple of things I'm also seeing going into the fight.
I think actually Teo it would get real hairy in the moment, but I actually think he could survive maybe an early knockdown in this fight and still win the fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think back to look, Milton LaCroix not making him really pick his hands up. he's almost 30 years old. He's never picked them up. He's never been comfortable fighting out of a real high guard, so he's not going to do it. You might as well, I guess, have a trainer who's comfortable training that style in the first place. Back to basics for him means just being sharp and getting back to his jab first and foremost. He has to have his jab working in this fight. That's how he has to initiate in this fight, pull Rolly out of the kind of shell he was in against Ryan, where he's waiting for you to commit and time you up with something. Get Rolly in the exchanges, get him to open himself up where he'll be vulnerable for a clean counter shots by Teofimo. And I think that an underrated bet heading into this fight is Teofimo by knockout, because he's only had one stoppage in the last several years. It was against Pedro Campa, who, respectfully was a punching bag at this level from Mexico. Not a hard guy to hit. Outside of that, I can't even remember the last time Teo's gotten a knockdown. So nobody's thinking Teo can knock Rolly out, but Rolly doesn't have a particularly good chin. That's, and Isaac Cruz and Gervonta Davis, they can crack. And I understand Rolly's point about not making weight strong the last several years. When I went back and was watching his fights, he was doing good against Gervonta Davis. I thought he was winning that fight. And the Ryan fight was the first time he seemed confident and strong since the Gervonta Davis fight. So I believe him that those weight cuts were really rough at 135 and 140, but he's actually talking about having a rough weight cut in this fight because he hasn't fought in over a year. But I think if he can open Rolly up, and the way he has to open Rolly up is he has to pepper him with his jab. His jab has to be busy like it was in the Barboza fight. And Rolly can step out. He has quick feet, but he doesn't punch off of his feet much. A lot of his step out game is stepping out, moving around, and then eventually he has to plant again to do what he's going to do. He's got to use his jab. But I think Teo can hurt him, drop him, and put himself in a position to close the show with the right hand in this fight if he can open Rolly up and hit him in between shots with a shot he doesn't see coming.
Well, one thing's for sure, Rolly definitely believes he was winning that Tank fight and just got stopped with a clean shot. I believe he made sure that you understood that, Sean, at the press conference. But your question to him, I think, was lost on him. I'm not sure if he fully understood.
He didn't get a chance to finish his question.
Yeah, because I'm not sure if he
got
understood where he was going. You know what I mean? And the way you just articulated how you broke down his fight with Tank, I think he would have been on board with that analysis. But it sounded like you were shooting a diss at him. It sounded almost like you were saying like he's a joke or he's playing with this game of boxing. And I think he took umbrage at that. So the way your mind works and you're so deep in the game 24/7, I think sometimes you talk over the head even of the fighter. Like you're thinking about this at layers that they're not considering. At a press conference, especially these days, sadly, they're so used to kind of surface run-of-the-mill questions that they've heard before, probably 2 times that day, if not 10 times during the fight week. And you start with that opening question that's a thinker, and you're laying this thing out. Maybe Rolly didn't quite get it. I think the audience might be serviced with you giving us a preamble, setting up what exactly you meant. Because it was a good question. It's an interesting thought. But I'd like for you to lay out the foundation of the question so we can understand what you were really asking.
Well, it's funny. I love Rolly's parents. His mother, a very sweet woman, and his dad, who made this incredible journey swimming from Cuba to Florida, got caught and had to stay in Guantanamo Bay. A man that everybody respects. Even, Bill Haney, Devin Haney, they have their beef with Rolly. Obviously, all the things Rolly said about them and vice versa over the years, they still love Rolando Romero Sr. He is loved by everybody in the Vegas boxing gyms. And Rolly's mom comes up to me. She said, I asked Rolly, why did you do that to Sean? Why did you get mad at Sean like that? He said, because he was asking a stupid ass question. And I told her, that's fair, whatever, no problem. But because I love his mother. And anyways, that's a long story, I think, why. But to get into why I was asking that question is we get to fight week. We try to diagnose what is the story here. right? And that question was getting at it. I said, Rolly, you fought 18 rounds against 2 of the 4 kings. And I'm going to put that in quotes because even if these guys continue to have good careers, they are I don't know why that balloon just went off. They are just like I am no Larry Merchant or Jim Lampley. Respectfully, Tio and Devin and Ryan and Gervonta, a few of them, very much in all likelihood, headed to the Hall of Fame in their own right, are no fucking Sugar Ray Leonard, Thomas Hearns, Roberto Duran, and Marvin Hagler. They're not. And Sammy, my wife, when I was getting ready to cover Haney versus Prograis, she came up with this great term that if I actually was a writer and wrote more often, if at all, this would have been a great headline. And she said they're the 4 kids. That's what they are. They're not the 4 kings. They're more the 4 kids than they are the 4 kings, right? And again, I give them all a lot of credit. But Rolly in 18 rounds, 6 rounds with Gervonta, 12 rounds with Ryan Garcia, I would estimate has won about 12 or 13 of those rounds, roughly 2/3 of those rounds. I thought he won 8 or 9 rounds against Ryan. I thought he won 3 or 4 rounds against Gervonta in the 5 rounds actually scored before he got knocked out in the 6th. So Ricardo Mayorga, because I've always compared him to this era's Ricardo Mayorga. Ricardo Mayorga, yeah, he knocked out Vernon Forrest and beat him in a rematch. He became undisputed. He's actually accomplished something most fighters today on the pound-for-pound list haven't. But he was cannon fodder for De La Hoya, Trinidad, and Mosley. And for this era's Ricardo Mayorga to win 66% of the rounds he's fought against half of the 4 kings, and then fighting the 3rd on Saturday night, and he may very well knock him out because along with all the other technical stuff we've said, Teofimo, even at his best, exchanges punches with his hands not up. So he might get caught and knocked out Saturday night. Totally, totally possible, in about 24 hours from now. If he does that, Rolly Romero was once affectionately referred to as Trolly Romero. This would be his ultimate troll. And who is the butt end of this joke? Boxing, the sport of boxing, which he says, by the way, is easy.
It's easy. Yep.
And that was an interview in 2020, 2021 with me and Brendan. We were in the gym.
City Athletic Gym, which is defunct now, behind the Fashion Show Mall. Teofimo Lopez was getting ready for Cambosis. Rolly Romero was doing interviews with me on a regular basis, calling out Gervonta Davis, and eventually landed the fight, being hilarious in doing so. And they had this point of contention where Rolly's like, boxing's easy. Boxing's easy. Like, you just show up, hit the bag, and then Rolly was talking to a kid. There was a kid in the gym.
Yes. Okay. So this little wide-eyed kid goes up to Rolly Romero and is like, "Hey man, like, what should I like?" It wasn't a little kid actually. It was a guy like
it was a teenager, maybe a guy close to 18,
who was already at the age of, if you're asking this, you're not gonna make it, and you're already too old. But whatever. He's going up to Rolly and what do I need to do like to be a boxer, make it in this thing? He's like, boxing's the easiest sport in the world. You just have to. And then we call Tio over, or no, Rolly calls Tio over, and he goes, "Tio, isn't boxing easy?" And he's like, No, it's the hardest fucking sport in the world. It requires everything. Like,
that's right.
And he's like, "No, it's not. It's easy." And then Rolly, he does an interview, that same interview where he says he's going to walk Tio down. He says, boxing's not violent. It's not even that violent. These guys can't even fight outside of boxing, right? Like, it's not violent. And I'm thinking after the interview, I'm like, Pritchard Colon died that day. And, and fighters die every year almost in the ring. Patrick Day, Maxime Dadashev, back in the day, Levander Johnson,
Kazuki Yanaguchi,
Kim, who fought
Dooku
Kim, right? So it's kind of a preposterous thing to say that boxing's not a violent sport. It's him being a little bit of Trolly Romero. If he beats if he beats 2 of the 4 kings and continues to just bank rounds against them, much more than they bank against him, that is an indictment on this era of boxing when we're talking about these lightweights and welterweights, specifically the ones dubbed the 4 kings. And the butt end of his ultimate joke here is the sport, in particular those guys. And that's why I followed up the next question to Teofimo about Rolly all week. In almost he means it, but also it feels like a troll talking about the Hall of Fame. Teofimo's in the Hall of Fame, right?
Yeah.
And by the way, his answer was they're the four queens, right? He did answer. He said, "What you mean the four queens?" And Teofimo, it's like, dude, he keeps talking about the Hall of Fame. What about you? Okay, you were basically undisputed at 135. You were the legitimate champion at 140. But if you lose to Rolly Romero, like, are you really a Hall of Famer? Forget the Hall of Fame, because the Hall of Fame is getting so watered down that anybody who had a pretty good career is getting in now anyways. But, okay, so even if you do get in, what about your reputation? Keeping your reputation intact. And all due respect to Rolly, who I've known for a long time, and guys starting the sport late with lots of punching power and having success is nothing new. It's not. And it's not like he started at 20. He started 16, 17 years old. He's got a lot of physical talent. But Larry Merchant once said during the De La Hoya Mayweather fight, so one of the, I think Jim or someone was commenting, well, Zab Judah was having success against Floyd and and only for Zab to lose his advantage later on in the fight. And Larry intercedes and he goes, hold on. I've seen Oscar De La Hoya fight for years, and Oscar De La Hoya is no Zab Judah. Okay. And so if Teofimo Lopez loses to Rolly Romero, then he's not really maybe a great fighter. He's not a king. He needs to win this fight and really probably even win it in a big way to make people believe again. But he needs to win this fight to maintain and solidify his reputation. Otherwise, that talk about Lomachenko was smaller and older and really mailed in the first half of the fight and was starting to kick your ass in the second half anyways, and Josh Taylor really lost to Jack Catterall and really didn't have it anymore when you beat him anyway. So, good job. You won the lightweight and super lightweight titles, but, you ain't all that. Like, that's only going to get louder. Teofimo needs to show who the fuck he is Saturday night, because Rolly Romero has already won. He's already picked the one big scalp he needs to keep being a credible wild card, puncher's chance, interesting personality B-side. He's already fulfilled his Ricardo Mayorga legacy. He already got his Vernon Forrest. It was Ryan Garcia. If Teofimo Lopez really wants to show he's a Shane Mosley, De La Hoya, Trinidad, if you really want to show he's a great fighter of his era, he needs to handle his business tomorrow night.
The question of whether or not boxing is hard or easy, or the hardest sport ever, or easy, they're both right. They're both right.
That depends on the individual, right?
The reason they're both right is because of the individual. It's because for Rolly Romero, boxing is easy. He is neurodivergent. You know what's easy for somebody on the spectrum? Trigonometry. But you know what it is? Hard. You know what's also hard for somebody on the spectrum? Tying their fucking shoes. Easy. Rolly Romero doesn't have a complicated relationship with boxing. He doesn't have a complicated style. He doesn't have a complicated family dynamic in the corner. And when you say, I don't know, you're shaking as if he does have a complicated style. I don't think he does. I don't think he's in there trying to think his way through the fight. He is in there doing what he's training to do in the fight and relying on it. And he's okay with, not that he's okay with losing, but he's okay with getting stopped by Tank if he's winning the whole fight. That's what he was saying that as a point of pride. He wasn't talking about that fight with shame or regret or I can't sleep at night because I got stopped by Tank. He's thinking about how many rounds he won, not the stoppage by which he lost. This is part of why his confidence is unwavering no matter what his last fight looked like. The complication for Rolly Romero is life. Boxing's easy for him compared to life. He carries that car ride with Clarissa Shields a lot heavier on his heart than he does being stopped by Tank Davis. He has, in religion of all ilks, can fortify somebody's spirit and give them the guidance that they need. Whether no matter what book you're reading from, I think they've all got some wisdom in them and they've all got some God in them. So if it's Rolly and Jesus that gets him to the promised land, then so be it. But that is, to a degree, a crutch by which he can find some stability, something he can look into that's a written word that he can delve into and make that speak to what his life is supposed to be about. Give him some self-worth, give him some purpose, give him something to guide him outside the ring from fight to fight. The guy was suicidal, and none of us can remember anything, at least that we saw in Rolly's life, that would suggest that he should be wanting to die. But clearly what goes on in his mind when it gets dark, and he's talked about those dark moments, is that's hard. So boxing for him when that bell rings is easy. Tyson Fury will tell you the same, especially when he was more honest. Now he's a fucking clown, but back in the day when he was, speaking real more truthfully, when he got on the mic instead of just, putting on his character, that is part of what happened with him post-fight Klitschko. Like, some of these guys need that regimen. They need to know what time to get up in the morning. They need to know exactly what the rules are. They need to know what their mind and body should be doing. And if they have that routine, they can rely on what boxing gives them. They understand the structure of it. They know what the process is. They have a short-term goal of winning the next fight. That's life. That's the part of life that they can sign up for. Is no doubt. Win, lose, or draw. When you have to navigate the rest of life with all these moving parts, your family, your childhood, your insecurities, your wife, all of these things, that seems like chaos. For Lopez, it's the opposite. Lopez, he is finding boxing difficult because, by my estimation, he's got a cog in the wheel. He's got a wrench in the gears. He's got something that has stagnated his development in boxing. So it is complicated. It's difficult. He's not able to do what he should be able to do at this stage of his career with the experience that he's had, because he's relying on somebody who doesn't have the ability to help him level up to the degree that has been available to him. So it's always complicated. And then when he's going into the corner, expecting that word from his father that is going to make it all make sense, his father didn't have that for him. And as his father began to degenerate as a coach and lose focus, drink more, like I'm thinking back to Madison Square Garden after the Kambosos fight, and we're in the lobby. His father was shit-faced then. Well, I haven't. This ain't me just talking, speaking tales out of school. No pun intended. True school. Although Brandon might get it, but I like true school. Okay. The fact that isn't new. That's just finally bubbled up to the point where you could see it in the corner, and the whole boxing world was like, "Yo, what is this on display?" But hold on, let me land this plane real quick, because the difference between the way those two guys think of boxing and how they experience life is what makes them both right, and also could potentially make them wrong for each other. Like, that's why we don't know what kind of fight we're going to get, because in each case, neither one of these guys can be relied upon to be the same from fight to fight. Because while Lopez is struggling for his identity in the ring, Teofimo is not facilitated by someone in the corner who can help connect his life outside the ring to what needs to be done in the ring. And that person is his father, the one guy who really should be that person for you no matter what your job is. Rolly's out there with his chest out doing his best Scarface impression, trolling, because that is his happy place. Because he is that comfortable. He is that relaxed. And it gives him a break from what the rigors of the world are. You talked about his system in our last show. That's exactly what he thrives in, a system. And now his system is gelled. When he gets outside the ring, he doesn't understand this system of life and the world that's upon him. So even though he may not be as talented Teofimo. He hasn't had the experience that Teofimo has. He has the confidence as if he's done more and better than Teofimo because of what he experienced in the sparring and because he knows that crack in Teofimo's mentality and that crack in his armor in the corner is something that he can potentially expose if given the opportunity. That is what Rolly is. He's an opportunity fighter. You saw Ryan off his game, and that is where that is where Rolly Romero lived and got that win. If we see Lopez off his game, that's where Rolly will live, and that's where he will get the win.
I think you did a great job, Raheem, of pretty much surmising Rolly's quote that he had to me earlier in the week in the media scrum, where he simply just said, "Boxing is easy and life is hard." You know?
Yeah, he did say that.
You did say that, yeah. No, Rolly fights with a certain freedom that I think has gotten him to this point. You know, he wouldn't have got here without being as free and I guess comfortable in his skin as he is. And to your point about Tio and the corner and not having the answers, I mean, I know it won't come as a surprise to anybody, but finally we got some accountability from Tio Sr. When I talked to him earlier in the week, and he admitted that going into the Shakur fight, I was on drugs. I did not
Which
protect
one?
my son. Huh?
Which ones is the one?
He didn't specify, but
Exactly,
I would assume they were hard, and I would assume that they were effective, because he said that he did not protect his son. He did not have his son's best interest going into that fight, and but he says, hey, he's adamant. He says, you know what, hey, this was my wake-up call to do what I need to do as a father. So we shall see come fight night if that is the case.
I also think he says boxing comes easy to him, in addition to the great breakdown Raheem had and you validating it then with that quote. He's a genetic freak, and I mean that in the complimentary sense that we talk about many athletes with. He is very strong, he punches very hard, and what's overlooked about his strength and awkward style is he's not slow. In order to generate that level of torque that he generates, some speed has to be generated and velocity along with that punching power. So I think that's part of why boxing's also come easy to him. Is he's a very physically talented guy. I mean, I've watched a lot of great fighters work the mitts, and few of them detonate the way I've seen Rolly Romero detonate on the mitts. It's although a lot of it is, especially back in the day when I'd really get to watch him at Floyd's, was I don't think anybody really good is going to get hit with that shit you just threw. But my God, if they did, their head might fall off. Like, so another quick tidbit. It was interesting when Rolly said, have you ever had facial reconstructive surgery? Tio's face does mark up very easily, basically after every fight. So his confidence is riding high. He feels like, you know, he's going to mark that face up and maybe it'll lead to a stoppage for him. Real quick, I don't want to miss this super chat from Alex Fitzmaurice.
Oh, shout out Alex. I know Alex.
Says Teofimo is just like Tyson Fury. They fight to the level of their competition. Notice how they were both 2020 Fighter of the Year, too. I see Tio by a 7th or 9th round stoppage. Well, you know what's funny about that? Quick story time again. I saw Tio in the mall that Christmas, and that's when he met my son Leonardo and gave him a hug and was, you know, very cool. And funny enough, my family's also met Rolly when Jorge Capetillo had a function on the east side, and Andy Ruiz showed up there and Tyson Fury showed up there, and Rolly took pictures with my wife and son with his newly won WBA belt at the time. But Tio was depressed around that time, and it was because he had to share Fighter of the Year with Tyson Fury. And he felt like he should have solely had that award because Lomachenko was ranked number 1 pound for pound. And I remember he's down in the dumps about it, and he asked me, you know, what do you think about it? And maybe I should have just told him what he wanted to hear, but I said, I think it's a good call. I go, you know, you got to understand, yeah, you beat the number 1 pound for pound guy, but this is the heavyweight division. And Fury beat an undefeated, knocked out and dominated an undefeated American heavyweight champion in a pay-per-view fight that did about 1 million buys when no pay-per-views do 1 million buys anymore. So I think they got it right. And hey, Sugar Ray Leonard had to share it with Salvador Sanchez once, and I don't think that did anything to make him feel better. But what I was gonna interject when Raheem was talking about Teofimo was, I think if he handles his business tomorrow, because it always looks good in the end if you win. I think part of me wants to give him some props. Someone asked earlier in the chat, who should he have ever left for his father? And I think the answer was Eddie Reynoso a couple years ago. Canelo extended his arm to him. They took the photo op with all their belts, said, hey, you are welcome more than any time to the gym. Come to the gym. I'd love to have you. And he was supposed to go down there. And I think the dad may have intercepted, trying to protect his standing as the lead trainer, maybe worried that Reynoso would eventually become the lead trainer. And I think that would have been the perfect fit for Eddie Reynoso. It's still a Latin fighter going to Eddie, and Eddie specializes in the head movement stuff, and Teo fights off his head movement very well. So I think, and maybe he could have actually gotten him to pick his fucking hands up a little bit once in a while.
That would have been great. That'd been amazing.
A great link up. But hold on, let's not. I want to address Alex's super chat.
Go ahead.
It's funny because he said he's just like Fury, that his camp dictates. I'm paraphrasing now. Dictates his performance, and then he predicts that Teo gets his 7th round stoppage. Was it 6th or 7th round?
His competition.
His competition.
Yeah.
Oh, his competition dictates
his comp. Yeah, he said comp.
I thought he said his camp.
No, comp.
Okay. All right. And, I would just wonder how Alex, I guess, assesses his competition then in Rolly that acquires that 6th or 7th round stoppage. Does that mean that Rolly is good enough to bring Teo up to the level of performing that well, or is Rolly not so good so that Teo can get a 6 or 7th round stoppage?
I think he's saying Teo's gonna rise to the occasion because Rolly's coming off the biggest win of his career. He's firing. Well, yeah, he's coming off the Ryan Garcia win. So
that'll get him stopped.
Yeah, well, because Teo's like, I think Teo's a very emotional, inspirational type of guy. He's that kind of fighter.
Well, and he's also very good coming off a loss or a bad performance. He's been like this for a while. Well, he's coming off of this, so pattern recognition.
I mean, this all started when he fought Masayoshi Nakatani 7 years ago, and it's been like that ever since. It's never been as like that since before then.
Right. So he's.
Do you guys think that coming off a loss, this is his greatest challenge off a loss so far?
I think it is because, his bag of tricks have worn off a lot on a more consistent basis over the years. He looks mediocre more often than he looks great in the last. Josh Taylor was the last time he looked great. He looked good against Arnold Barboza, but outside of that, Steve Claggett, underwhelming. Jermaine Ortiz, some people thought he lost. Sandor Martin, a lot of people thought he lost. So, and if you lose this fight, you're kind of officially done as an elite level fighter. And that's what I was going to get at a moment ago is I almost want to commend him for, because, okay, coulda, shoulda, woulda with Reynoso, but you keep your dad. You want, things were falling apart for years with his wife. Now they're still together. They're back together. And he has a second child on the way. And his sister's, it's funny, his sister almost, she cursed somebody out at the press conference. I'm sure you saw that, right, Raheem?
That was the moment of the day yesterday.
And what was funny about that was fighters like Bruce Carrington, my guy Shushu from Brooklyn, Teo's not from Brooklyn. Teo's not from Brooklyn. I wanna hit Shushu up and go, his sister's certainly from Brooklyn. that was about as Brooklyn as you could get. Which he said, you shouldn't have. What did he say? You shouldn't have started nothing.
You should have never said nothing.
You should have never said nothing. And
I missed it. I didn't see that.
Oh, you go back and watch it. It was gold.
Well, he's got that chaotic family, the sisters who are like that, the dad with the admitted drug problem, the ups and downs with the wife. They were supposed to be divorced a couple of times, but here they are. Second kid, 29 years old.
He's carried it all on his shoulders, He's
carried it all on his shoulders. And if he can get through to the finish line with a W, you think you kind of got to commend him for that? Even though you say, and it's the first fight of a 4-fight deal for $20 million with DAZN. He goes out there like a professional and earns his check and doesn't leave them hanging there like, oh shit, now we got 3 more fights. It's like a free agent contract in basketball or football. You sign a guy right when he's 29, but are his best years already behind him? Are you going to get a devalued asset after you give him all this money, or is he going to deliver? He goes out there tomorrow night and makes people believers again. Then that's a level of maturity from Teofimo Lopez. That's a maturation process, and you got to give him credit for that if he actually does handle his business tomorrow night and doesn't get knocked on his ass for 10 seconds, and that's it against Rolly Romero.
So Teo has. Oh, go ahead, Raheem.
No, I was going to ask you actually. I think it was. Did you predict that Teo might go down early in the fight? One of you said that. That
was Sean.
Teofimo might get knocked down and then come back. I wonder if he faces that kind of adversity, if he does suffer a knockdown, is there anything for him when he gets back to the corner? Does Senior have the chops if it goes sideways to put his boy back on track? I think we might see a situation, if that were to be the case, where Lopez is trying to manage himself and corner. He'd probably be trying to calm his father down or trying to process his father's chaos while calming himself down. I wonder, now there's a moment that's waiting to happen. Senior, and I'm sure that they hope they don't get this opportunity, but if it does go sideways, if the knockdown comes, or if there's a real bad round, or it's late in the fight and it's close and they need to pull something out of Lopez, there's a moment for Senior now to at least, if not exonerate himself of his past failings and poor performance in that corner, he can establish himself as also having learned something from that experience and come back better than ever before. There will be a moment in this fight where Lopez Sr. can prove he deserves to be and should be in that corner to bring something that nobody else can bring out of his son. And we will see if he meets that moment. That would be a phenomenal thing to see.
Or like you said, Teo's going to have to just steer the ship on his own, and that'll be his do or die moment at this level of boxing. He gets put down early, gets hurt early. Dad doesn't have a whole lot for him outside of what are you doing? You gotta.
The problem with that, Sean, yeah. I think that's where Teo's going to start. He's going to start in his own head. He's going to start by parsing through what his father says without the kind of confidence that his father once enjoyed. But if he does that, and Teo does that, and he's doing it his own way, and he's being his own man, and that goes sideways, like every fighter ever in the history of fighting, he's going to go back to what he knows. He's going to drop that shit and try to look to his corner for the thing that he's always been looking for in the corner. And if Senior meets that moment with that thing that he needs at the time, then that is the moment where they elevate as a team, where that vision they talk about comes reality. That might be the story of this fight at the end of the night.
Or it falls apart for good once and for all. Like people have been saying.
He just capitulates. Just absolutely capitulates.
All right.
We got a super chat from Cesar Cherinos again. Said, bro, you guys look like school teachers, but definitely no boxing.
Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah, what kind of school are you at? I mean, where they just have Adonis's telling you how to think. Like, what a cherished life you have led, sir.
You've had some. I shouldn't say that. I'll say you've got some handsome school teachers, my man.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. This is where you go to Magic Mike school.
Yeah.
So, Mitty Cool says, for some reason, I can see Teofimo putting on a show for most of the fight, then out of nowhere, Rolly cracks him with something ugly and awkward. Well, that is the puncher's chance. That is the threat and the danger of a real puncher. And one of Rolly's not sparring partners, but guys that have sparred him said he hits harder than Jaron Ennis. Joseph Brown, 19-year-old, who sparred
on
rounds.
Undercard.
Yeah, he's fighting on the undercard, so he can fucking punch. That's one thing about Rolly Romero, and he is healthy at this weight because his power didn't show up against Manuel Jaimes. He went the distance with Manuel Jaimes, Abdullah Mason dropped him 3 times and knocked him out in 5 rounds. Pitbull Cruz got underneath him, and he couldn't do anything with Pitbull Cruz. So we'll see, but he feels strong and confident at 47.
If Rolly holds his feet, because like there's this narrative that Teofimo Lopez's punch power hasn't carried up, and on paper it hasn't, but a lot of those guys he's been fighting have been movers that don't necessarily come to fight, like Sandor Martin, Jermaine Ortiz, Shakur Stevenson. If Rolly does fight with a more crude style, if he goes back to the old Rolly a bit and he holds his feet and they exchange, is it possible that maybe we're overlooking the fact that Teofimo Lopez actually does carry pop, and it's actually just the stylistic matchups that have been producing the knockouts for him? Yeah,
well, no, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm kind of tempted to pick Teofimo Lopez by knockout, because I think he's still got power in his right hand, and I think he can catch Rolly clean. Now, again, I could see Rolly stopping him as well, because Teofimo can open up, doesn't bring his hands home a lot, relies on his reflexes and punches with his hands at his chest or lower, or only keeps one hand up a little bit. But the one hand he does keep up better than the other one when he actually does keep a hand up is the right hand. So, and Rolly's best shot is the left hook when it comes to ending the fight. But I think, if he can, like I broke down earlier, if he can open Rolly up a little bit behind his jab, Rolly's chin isn't the best. So I think I think Teofimo at plus 350 for the knockout is not a bad bet, especially if bad blood breaks out in there and, Rolly opens up and doesn't fight as patient and as economical as he did against Ryan Garcia. So we'll see.
Yeah, that jab is worth repeating, pun intended. If he is efficient, repetitive, consistent, and effective with the jab, it's over. Unless, like the super chat said, there's something wild. Just, I won't even say desperate. Just if Rolly can throw a punch as awkward as he throws an insult, he might catch Lopez flat-footed and drop him like he does when they're throwing trolls back and forth. Like, he might just get him stuck in the sand. But if that jab is working, if that jab is educated and doing its job, that's a really high hurdle to ask Rolly to get over.
Yeah, but we're describing what could actually turn out to be a good fight. Or it could be 2 guys who have been doing good as counterpunch. Rolly's become more of a counterpuncher. Tio is the counterpuncher. And it could be like Brendan was originally anticipating and started the show with a lot of posturing, a lot of positioning, and not a lot of punching.
Yeah, and there's been a bunch of talk from Tio Sr. about slick boxer Gordo coming back in this fight. So I think they're looking to box anyway.
And Salas says he expects a chess match.
So if it's a chess match, I mean, the 2 guys are counterpunching and waiting on each other, you might get a stinker. I still feel like it's not going to be an exciting fight. I hope I'm wrong. I want to see an exciting fight, but
I feel like if Rolly takes that posture, Tio's going to go get it. I know Tio's a counterpuncher and all that, but he's going to test the market. If Rolly gets shy or starts trying to be too clever by half, I think the pressure's going to come from Tio. He'll test him. Because he knows he's more talented. I'm sure he believes he's faster. I think he believes he can outbox Rolly. If Rolly ain't bringing it, then I think Tio, while he may not try to walk Rolly down, he will try to touch him up. He will try to just, fucking outpoint him, but with effective, clean shots, like not touch shots. He's gonna put it on him. If Rolly tried.
That's what he did in sparring, Raheem, 10 years ago.
Okay.
So, that was then. This is now. What do we? All right. So where are we leaning, fellas? Raheem, you go first.
Well, I mean, I think I've said it. I'm not a predictor of these fights. I don't know that I could tell you who's going to win, but I could, as I have, told you what I believe will be the story of the fight. And I started by saying earlier in the week, the mentality. But now, you know what? I've narrowed it down to the assessment of what we just worked our way towards in the corner, with whether or not Senior has a moment in that corner that changes the game for Lopez. I think I'm going to tell you what I think the story of the fight is, right? I'm not going to discount that Rolly can, no matter what Lopez does, potentially stop him with power. And we don't know if Lopez's chin stands up at 47. We don't know if Rolly's got more power than Teofimo is expecting. And with the puncher's chance does exactly what the last super chat suggested. But I think the moment that will define the fight will happen in the corner of Lopez. And how that moment goes, so too goes this show.
That doesn't sound too good for Tio. Between the lines. I'm reading between the lines.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which, BT, go ahead.
I want to stick to my guns. I think it'll be a fight where I don't think it's going to be this ultra exciting fight. I think Tio will win on points. I could also see a scenario where, Tio will respect the punching power of Rolly, and he might even outwork him and out-volume him to a decision. And I could see a game plan where Rolly's circling the ring and pot-shotting and doing the whole Cuban style, but it won't be enough. And Tio will land, and Tio will be accurate because, that's where he needs to be at a higher weight class. And it'll go the distance, and Tio will win a decision and become three division champion.
So Brendan has arrived where he was in Brooklyn when this fight officially got announced. It was the day after Jaron Ennis and Xander Zayas were walking to get some pizza, Raheem, with my family. I go, oh, Rolly and Tio's official. And Brendan goes, Teofimo by decision. Teofimo on points.
Yeah.
and he's been on a roll, Raheem. He's been on a roll. He has Zepeda over Roach. He's been picking fights very well, because he's been doing it now that he's on the other side of 30. Been doing it with less.
Yeah, like you get to a point where like you don't get so overly invested in the underdogs anymore. I used to love the underdogs. It was fun, but got to put your childish face behind you at some point. So
he's like Teofimo by decision. But my first reaction, Brendan, you'll remember, and I said it a few times on the Porter Way, was Rolly's the more natural welterweight. Rolly's the bigger welterweight, and Rolly's gotten better. And when Tio had his way with him, that was at 135 pounds when they were young men. They're grown men now. And 147, like Raheem used to always tell me, is the grown man's weight class. Raheem used to say that 130-pound, 135 shit even. And Raheem used to tell me when I love a featherweight or someone like that, he goes, got to get to at least 35. And he goes, and really 147. He's 147 is where the real shit goes down. Okay. So
yeah, 40 is the watermark. Right? That's right there. But you ain't breathing fucking air until you get over 40. Right down here, this is where the small fish swim. You know what I mean? If you want to walk on land like a man, you got to get up to 47, my friend. This is no disrespect to guys who can't make that weight because just don't have the anatomy for it, but it's a different thing down there. They're the center of the earth people. The giants walk on top of land.
Right, and that's why once Pacquiao, who already was selling pay-per-views and everything at 30 and 35, once he got to 147, he became that global icon kind of guy. And you know what I mean? Like that's...
And beware of the guys who skip 40, because that's the fence you got to get over. You can't skip it. How many guys have we seen that go from 35 to 47 like, I don't need that 40 division. You know what I mean? They want to get up there and fight that grown man. Those grown men.
What if they do like?
It never works out. It never works out.
What if they do a one fight pit stop at 40, then try to go to 47?
I mean, again, that's down to the individual, but you got to stop. Yeah. You can't just do you can't do a walkover fight. You can't fight the guy at 7-Eleven. You got to stop at 40 and clear somebody out. Be like, I'm so ready for 47. I don't need to do 2 fights here because of the guy that I beat at 40. Says enough. It's that. Paulie, Skip, Brawner, Skip. Yeah. Like, it don't work, man. You got to get over that fence. You can't take a ladder. And so, for me, that's the clearinghouse. That's the clearinghouse.
So I may have fucked myself here and overthought it, because for weeks I was leaning towards Rolly. I'm saying he's now gotten better at the things that give Teofimo fits. He can counter, he has timing, and he's not a front foot fighter anymore. He's found a way to hold himself in the center of the ring, even take a step out when he needs to, use his jab a little bit, stay disciplined, keep his right hand home. All those things that won in the Ryan Garcia fight is usually the kind of things that give Teofimo Lopez kryptonite. And he's actually gotten better, and he actually has a trainer. And Teofimo hasn't gotten better, and he doesn't actually have a trainer. But right. But I don't know. We get to fight week 2, and Teofimo, he's done his homework on this fight. When I talked to him 2 weeks ago at the Split T gym, he said, my left arm hurts so much from how much I've been jabbing in camp. I talked to Manny Pacquiao.
Remember he said that.
As the smaller guy coming up to welterweight, I have to have more volume than the other guy. He says, I know Rolly is sharp and patient and hits hard with the 1s and the 2s and the 3s at most. That's not going to be enough for me. I'm going to up my volume when I need to. I'm going to use my jab when I need to. I know he's having a rough weight cut. Rolly has confirmed that this week. Tio had word of it a couple weeks ago. And when he showed up Thursday, and, you can get caught up in the press conference hype, but I liked that. He set the tone a little bit finally, and then kind of ruined it by playing Prince and curling up next to his face. But he set the tone, and that's why his dad went, fuck yeah, and slammed the table, because that's what he needed to hear.
It's about time.
It's about time.
Oh, I thought his dad just wanted to party like it was 1999.
The reference Prince. But I think the name of the game, the name of this one is Put Up or Shut Up, right? Well, it's time for Teofimo Lopez to put up. If he wants to actually make the Hall of Fame, he's won titles, and he's been the champion of 2 weight classes. Go ahead and grab yourself a belt. He's not going to be the true champion. There isn't one at welterweight. And heading into this fight, I even told Brendan at first, when it felt so flat getting here for fight week, I said, this might be the last big winnable fight for both of them. Even though they both got names, and Tio's only 29 and Rolly's 31, you might just be watching 2 names closer to the back end than people think they are, because they're not that old, and they haven't taken that much punishment. Because I don't think Tio's going to beat Devin Haney, because Devin Haney naturally has all the characteristics of the guys that have always given Tio fits anyways. So this could be the last big winnable fight for both of them. But I think Tio, he needs this one, and I think he will. I'll pick him to win the fight. I'm picking Teofimo Lopez. I even think Teofimo by knockout is not a bad bet, because nobody sees it coming, because he hasn't gotten a knockout or a knockdown in forever. But Romero doesn't have the best chin, and if he can open him up and make some exchanges happen on his terms, not because if Rolly's in his bag making Teofimo come to him and timing him, then Teofimo might get knocked out in this fight. But if he can open him up on his terms, I think he can knock Rolly out with a right hand, or set up the end of a show with the right hand, hurt him with the right hand, put himself in position to score a stoppage. So
I must say, sorry,
I'll go with Teofimo. After weeks of leaning towards
by knockout, by stoppage.
Nah,
points.
I don't think it's a bad bet. I think at plus 350, it's not a bad bet. I think everybody's looking at Rolly as plus 275 or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I think everybody's looking at that bet. Like, that's the one to take, is Rolly as the underdog. But I think maybe at even bigger odds, I believe it's Tio by knockout. I think that's longer odds at the sports books than Rolly winning the fight. So I'm going with Teofimo.
I got to take exception, because I must say that whoever wins this fight will be a champion. They won't be an undisputed champion, but they're going to be a fucking champion. There's not no fucking belt holder. Like, this is a championship fight. If Rolly Romero beats Ryan Garcia, waits 13 months, comes back then and beats Teofimo Lopez, both of these guys who are not just worthy opponents, but have done more than Rolly in different respects in the ring. Ryan's been in massive, massive shows, a bigger star. Lopez is more accomplished and, considered the more talented fighter. And Rolly beats those two guys back to back. And as defending champion in the second fight, and he's not a fucking champion? No, 100% he's a champion. If Lopez comes off a loss again, levels up in weight, finally crosses that Rubicon, goes to 47 after the shit show that was in his corner, after the performance from Shakur, just being outclassed at 40, and then comes back and claims a title from Rolly, who just beat Ryan at 147 with his first fight at the weight. That's a champion. That's a champion. You're not going to let this Max Kellerman shit slip in the side door. These guys are champions.
Fair enough, Raheem. I'm just distinguishing from when there was no, real dispute who the man was at 35 and 40 with him. But there was some dispute. You had Devin Haney saying, well, he's got the franchise WBC.
Well, that's the WBC issue. Yeah. That's he beat Lomachenko.
All this talk about the Hall of Fame, who's not. Teofimo wins Saturday night. He's a Hall of Famer.
What happened to our super chat guy? He threw $2. I feel like a stripper. Like,
you please do
somebody tucks some money in my G-string. We got to shake it a little bit for $2.
But can you do me a favor, Raheem? Can you do us a favor? Can you pick Rolly just to ensure that somebody on the panel got it right?
Because that's what matters, Raheem. Someone has to pick it right.
Romero by stoppage.
Is that official? Is that on the record?
Yeah, one monkey don't stop the show, if you know what I mean.
That's Raheem's pick. Raheem has Rolly by stoppage. Thank you, Raheem.
There you go.
Just to save
it's kind of bananas for nobody on the panel to pick Rolly.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, right. Well, right. How could you pick Tio after those comments?
Yeah.
They say one monkey don't stop the show, right? You know what I mean? It's kind of a tar baby of an issue. No matter where you slap it, you're going to get sticky and black.
All right. Well, we had a super chat from, where is it? About
it was
Bird.
Up top.
Yeah, here it is. Okay, and then we got another one after that. Count Drago, officially, this panel will get the fight right somehow. Raheem has Rolly. Me and Brennan have Tio.
We're off to a flying start.
Let the record reflect that. The show will be 1-0 no matter what, is what we're trying to ensure, Raheem. And Raheem's got Rolly anyways. He does.
Yeah.
But Count Drago says, will Ortiz, Virgil that is, take over middleweight? Zoo versus Ortiz is coming. Well, I've heard it's going to be Zoo versus Jamel Charlo, which makes more sense because Zoo's been fighting everybody on the PBC roster, and PBC doesn't probably want to fucking pay for Jamel Charlo. So send him to the Aussie so they can pay for him. So I think that's more likely.
And Golden Boy does have Charles Conwell there in-house fight. They seemed pretty interested in doing that fight when I talked to Eric Gomez 2 weeks ago.
Or Brandon Adams.
Brandon Adams, it's another one.
Oh, yeah, you're right, though. It was Charles Conwell. It wasn't Brandon Adams. Yeah.
Yeah.
Charles Conwell.
Well, but to the question, taking over middleweight, I mean, you got to take over a world title first. We're in our fourth weight class now, Virgil. You didn't win at 40. You didn't win at 47. You didn't win at 54. You can't take over anything if you don't take hold of a belt.
Yeah, that's a cold way to ask a question with all these champions at 40. I mean, at 60. And I think it belies how little people regard the current middleweight champions. I think people see that as a soft division, and these guys are easy picking. I like Denzel Bentley, honestly. I like this guy. He's a fucking dog, and I don't know that I mean, he's British, so he can only be so good. But maybe, you know what I mean?
By his limitations.
You will exceed that those shackles and be able to overachieve as a British fighter. I think I've met his parents. I interviewed him with them. and it's gonna be, and this is gonna sound like a diss, but it's not. But he's almost got that KSI energy in the family unit, where it's like he's got a loving family, but they expect so much from him, and he has so much to prove. His mother was like, before he got elevated to full champion when he won, she was in the interview like, no, he needs to be full champion. Like, they have a fighting family, even if he's the only one who is laced up. I'd like to see what Bentley can do. I think the division might be soft, but it might not be. These guys facing each other could actually turn into some tremendous classic nights of boxing. So don't take the middleweight division so lightly.
Janabek is toughest fight. You gave Janabek.
And Bentley is such a dog. Bentley, well, he got signed to Frank Warren because he took a fight like on 5 hours notice at a dinner show. That there's something to be said about a man's character that will get a phone call in the afternoon and say, hey, do you want to fight? And it's like, yeah, when and where, and you do it. And you do it so well that you get Frank Warren to put pen and paper and sign you.
That's right.
That's
a hero's origin story.
Carlos Adames needs to stick around and not just fight once a year. And it's funny, Rafael Divino Espinoza at featherweight, I made the joke to Brendan. I go, he should go to PBC because he likes fighting once a year, apparently. But Carlos Adames, he's like 5'10", 5'11" at most. He shouldn't go to 168, where now Shiraz is 6'3" and Pacheco's 6'4", and those are big guys up there. He should stay at middleweight and fight those guys. We got Yoenli Hernandez fighting tomorrow night, who somehow is already ranked number 2 by Ring, despite having really not fought anybody. But on the eye test, is kind of getting the boogeyman rep. We'll see how he looks tomorrow night. That's actually not a bad fight. Daniel Verone is as big as him, has some power. Argentinians are known for upsets. Let's see how Yo-Yo looks tomorrow. And, no offense, but I'm a little skeptical of Cuban fighters. They front run a lot, and they're not known for their grit and their ability to adjust in the second half of fights. So Yoenli Hernandez isn't, your
they
typical
front run, they side run, they back run.
Yeah, he does it. He goes forward.
They stay running. That's for sure.
But we started off with a British slight about Denzel Bentley, so
I doubled down on the Cubans.
And my name is spelled SEAN because I'm part Irish, and I don't think Aaron McKenna's that good. He won a belt. Congratulations.
You don't think he's as mean as Terrence Crawford?
I don't.
Wait, you said McKinnon, right? McKinnon, not McKinnon. Okay.
McKenna.
Not okay.
Yeah, not Kinnon.
There's another Kinnon out there that might be.
I'm losing this. I'm losing.
That's a deep cut. Never mind. It's an Irish. I thought we were just taking a shot at everybody. I thought I might take the Irish shot as well.
Yeah. Well, how many middleweight champions from the United States do we have right now, Brennan?
Right now we have 3.
Oh shit! I thought it was gonna be like 0. Well, wait, who are these 3? We're gonna count Amos because he got an interim belt.
No. Adames is still the full champion.
No, American champion.
Oh, American. Oh, 0.
So we fucking suck too. All right, we'll be equal.
Well, not for long.
Yeah.
Not for long.
No,
Amari Jones is coming. And Jahai Tucker is coming.
Because when the Americans are champions, they are truly that good. The reason we don't have any champions is because we don't have any good enough Americans. We don't put in soft champions. That's the difference. Now I'm just talking shit.
I think Amari Jones is, he's poised to be the I would pick him to beat Aaron McKenna, but Amari Jones hasn't fought high level competition yet. McKenna is tall and physical.
Rank these champions. Rank the middleweight champions worst to best.
So okay, well, first of all, real quick, it's Bentley, Lara, Adames, and McKenna. Okay, Adames won. Adames won.
Worst to best. That's worst.
From worst to best?
The best. Oh, worst
to best.
I'll say Lara based on age, but I still think he's kind of better than Aaron McKenna and Denzel Bentley with the few things. The few things he still does at 42 years old are still really done well. Stepping back and throwing a straight left hand. He's pretty good at that. But he's been fighting.
He's fine. He hasn't fought a soul in years.
Yeah, it's impressive actually.
He hasn't fought a soul in a couple of administrations.
Yeah.
Who was the last? Okay, he hasn't fought nobody since Brian Castano. That's 7 years ago. We're talking almost like 2 presidential terms ago.
Was still in power.
I'm saying, like, nah, man.
So I'll put Lara fourth on that, and then McKenna third, Bentley second, and Adames first.
I'm swapping Adames.
Would Virgil beat all these guys?
I love Bentley.
Would Virgil beat all these guys? To Brendan's point, I just don't understand why the fuck we're not just gonna see Ortiz and Fundora while Boots is gonna handle Kelly, and then you get undisputed. Why? That's just never how boxing works, is in a straightforward, logical manner. And that's why Zuffa needs to take over. Whatever. It still won't work that way. But anyways, but I don't understand why the WBC just can't mandate Ortiz for Fundora, and then they have a great fight. Boots goes and destroys Josh Kelly. Actually, it's not a horrible fight. Josh Kelly is very fast and talented, but Boots is going to beat him. We know that. And then all 4 belts, that would put everybody in position potentially for Boots and Virgil for undisputed. But no, he has to go to middleweight. I don't like that from Virgil. I'm like, no, first, well, try to get with her at first. Make her say no. And
go for the no.
The Sebastian Fundora fight. Like, it's like Fundora, he let him get past this next fight in September. And if he gets, or October, October, whichever month it is, but let Fundora win his next fight against his mandatory. Have Oscar and your team go to the WBC. We want to make this fight. And if they say no and pull shenanigans, all right, then whatever. Go to middleweight, do what you got to do. But putting this move in motion before you really try to land a Fundora fight in full effort, I just don't like it.
His manager has this strong conviction that once Virgil Ortiz leaves 154, that 154 becomes a wasteland, and 160 is now the new hot division. So, that's every problem we've seen with Virgil recently can be traced back to Rick Merigian and his delusion. No.
What'll happen is Fundora and Boots will fight for undisputed, and nobody will blink an eye. Everybody will be hyped for that and anticipating that as a great fight.
Correct.
And
and if Virgil Ortiz wins the title in the middleweight division, they'll say, "Well, congratulations, you became a world champion in arguably boxing's weakest weight class right now."
Good job.
He won't really get his due that he should for being a world champion.
Good point by Brendan. Another super chat says, "Does Teofimo Sr. say something dumb again?" I would think the odds on that are like minus 2,000.
He's saying something dumb right now. You just can't hear him.
No, okay. Better question: does he say something smart in the corner? I'm gonna say yes.
That's what the fight wagers on for me. Like that is the point of contention. I don't know, man. Maybe he rises to the moment because it doesn't have to be smart to us. He's got to say the thing that Tio needs to hear. And Tio may not need to hear a smart thing. He just needs to hear something he understands. He needs to hear something that gets him to where he needs to be in whatever moment arises. And it should be Senior who can deliver that better than anybody else. Because if he can't, that's the only argument for him being in the corner at all, that he can be that guy, that he's the one that has the magic words or this potion or can turn his son from defeat into victory, that connection, their shared vision. Because what else? If it's not that, make a case for him being in the corner for any other reason.
Raheem, is there anything you've been peeking at in the headlines that you wanted us to get to?
Yeah. Oh, okay. I do want to talk about this Devin Haney, Para. Like, are we thinking that Para with Paro? I always say Para. Well, let's find out if it's Paro.
Mister, if they have a belt, you're a world champion, but I don't remember his fucking name.
It's Paro with an O at the end.
No, it's Paro with an O if he's not ducking. But if he's asking for $6 million to fight Devin Haney, it's Para. Is that as I've heard it reported? Does that sound right to you guys? Is this like less than $1 million fighter now needing $6 million to face Devin Haney?
I haven't seen the 6 million figure, but all I heard was he priced himself out the fight. I didn't hear a figure.
6 million was being batted about. Now,
that's a lot.
I'll say this.
Because didn't they offer him the $3 million that they offered Keyshawn?
Yeah.
And essentially he's asking for the same. He's like, well, go ahead, Sean.
That's a good offer. $3 million sounds
more than fair.
Yeah, but at the same time, at some point when you keep being the common denominator for fights falling through, all right, I'm with you, Shakur. I don't like 144. You know, you pound for pound number one, you're the best fighter in the world. You were willing to fight Ben at 47 or even 54. You might have said, go fight Devin Haney at 47 and prove you're the best fighter in the world. Okay. Even if you're giving up 10, 12 pounds, Floyd did that on a number of nights, got the job done, you know, show you that's who you are. I'm with you, Devin. Keyshawn, let's do it. You thought I was going to drop this belt? No, let's do it. Here's $3 million from Top Rank, career high payday, purse bid. Cool. I'm with you. Keyshawn goes the other way. It's a bad look for Keyshawn. It's a duck by Keyshawn. All right, cool. Now we move on to Liam Paro or the Rolly Romero thing. You didn't want to fight without a guarantee. I get that. I get it. Rolly's right to dig at you that you're not really a promoter then because you don't want it. But to be fair, no promoter takes financial risks anymore. They get the network to eat everything all the time these days anyways, Zuffa included. So I get it. But you don't want to fight without a guarantee. Get it. I get that. I'm with you. Liam Paro. But
he's trying to fight George Kambosos right now.
You keep being the common denominator at some point, even if you're right every single time. If I keep getting in trouble in class and it's just like, well, you know, this kid was doing it and he hit me first. And at some point, the teacher's just going to be like, well, we keep going through this, Sean. And so you got to be doing something wrong. But
maybe it's people first.
Huh?
Maybe that's what Devin's doing wrong. I mean, it sounds like everybody wants to cash out. I mean, I get the whole Debo thing, and I laughed it off as kind of absurd when Bill presented it. But now it's really becoming a fruition. But I mean, okay, Debo in the sense that I guess people are avoiding the fight, but he's not Debo in the sense that he's knocking everybody out.
No.
So what is it that they're so afraid of? Or do they see him as the only cash cow out there? Is he just the guy that at the moment is worth the most money, so they want to get the most money to face that guy? Like, where do you get off asking for the kind of money that it seems like you say, Sean, I mean, he is the common denominator. So he deserves to feel like he's being avoided and that he's the best, and maybe he deserves a nickname like Debo, but it doesn't get the fight done. So what are they worried about?
Tim.
We got Tim Bradley in the chat.
Shout out to Tim.
Hood Houdini isn't telling the whole truth.
Who's that?
That would be Bill Haney. That's Tim's nickname for Bill Haney.
It's a good name.
The Hood Houdini.
Okay, cool. All right. What's the rest of the truth? We want to know.
Yeah. What's the
TB, man? You're welcome to come on.
I was gonna say that. Get Tim to come on.
Yeah.
By all means, bless us.
He's like, you motherfuckers ain't gonna get me. That's for my channel, the Tim Bradley channel. Like and subscribe right now. Yeah,
go run it up.
It's a good try, Raheem, but you're gonna have to set up your shot a little bit. He's not just gonna walk into the shot. Raheem. So, yeah.
I mean,
Liam Paro does Bill on.
Go ahead. I was gonna say Liam Paro does have the George Kambosos Jr. fight in his back pocket, so I think they're gonna do that fight, win, probably build him up a bit more, and then go try to revisit the Devin Haney fight.
Okay, so Tim's saying more money on the table he's to talk about. I'll say this, right? Like, I think, okay, when Jaron Ennis wanted to unify against Stanionis, I'm pretty sure he gave him 50-50. It's because I know I'm going to cook you. You know I'm going to cook you. All right, here's the money you're looking for, so I can cook you. If that's the situation with Liam Paro, and I think it is, then, man, break me off something. Pay me for this belt then. Okay, there's what Tim, I think, is getting at is, all right, you got all that DAZN money behind you, right? They're breaking you off 10, maybe 12. Don't give me 2 or 3 and think you're just going to take my belt. Give me 5 or 6 and you take home 5 or 6 and we could do business.
We could all be happy.
We could all be happy.
Get this DAZN money so I can give it to you. Get your own DAZN deal.
Yeah.
Your second option is Cambosis in fucking Australia. Do you want to be great or do you want to be good? Are you looking to just collect rent money or are you trying to buy a mansion? Like, why do what? What? No, sir. No, sir. You don't go out snatching chains so you can give 2 to somebody else. And that's a crazy, and I think Timothy is exactly right, but that's a crazy mentality for a fighter to have at this stage. Like, go beat the guy and take all the money. Go make DAZN look stupid for investing in him and not you. You know what I mean? Go get 2 fights out of this deal. Go beat him and get the rematch clause and beat him again. That's how you get your 10 million. Like, what do you like? What, pay me for this belt? That's what I'm talking about. They're looking to cash out. They've already lost the first round, suggesting that they need an insurance policy. Fight for what you're worth, and then at the end of the fight, be worth more. You know what I mean? Make Devin come begging you for the rematch.
Over $5 million unaccounted for in the negotiation, Raheem.
Unaccounted for would be like crates of money in Iraq. What does this mean? Unaccounted for. Where's the money at? What do you? Is he saying there's more money in the fight and the Haney's are tucking it so that they don't have to say how? Is it? I'm not understanding. Are they saying that he's hiding the value of the fight so that the opponent will take less? Because then we're into some Muhammad Ali act shit, right? Like you gotta be transparent about what's
disclose
money's in the fight.
Yeah, maybe Liam Paro's pulling the Bud Crawford with the Spence fight. I want to see the books.
As he should be able. Like, why not?
Right. Yeah, Tim's saying what I'm saying. Haney's deal with DAZN. It's like, yo, but Raheem, you did crack me up with that. Like, I didn't get this fucking deal to break you off. My deal. You figure out your side.
I mean,
yeah, but
that's
you want, but that's why I brought up Boots. It's like you really want to unify with this guy, make this guy do the job, and get in there in a fight you're probably gonna win. Then,
to be fair, he's offering guys 2-3 times the money they're usually making, so he's not in there like nickel and diming them. And then if Bill is to be believed, he claimed he was ready to drop another M on top of Keyshawn's head, on top of what Keyshawn's own promoter would give him. And Keyshawn told him to get out the DMs. So if that's
drop an
true,
M for Leo.
I'll take Bill at his word. If that's true, then they're doing exactly, or at least not exactly, but to some degree, what the Desert Storm is suggesting. They got an extra M. We want to make the fight here. We'll put that on top of what that's 25% of your purse coming from your opponent as a come on in here and get this whooping. I mean,
quick,
what else can you ask these guys to do?
Real quick before we resume, I don't want to I can't get into it, right? But I just want to say this real quick. My heart is with the Haney family right now. Prayers for them and blessed for them. I think we'll just want to leave it there right now and continue on as we go forward. It'll anyway, something can't really touch on, but did want to send that forward right now. But back to the discussion about the boxing. Tim Bradley says 12 million versus 3 million. See what I'm saying? It's like, come on, bro. If you got DAZN's giving you this 12, $15 million pie, I get 6, you get 9. Oh, you're still getting $9 million. What are you gonna do? At some point, you got to play ball.
My value does not dictate your value. We're not getting divorced, bitch.
Floyd used to get 40.
We have a prenup.
Floyd used to get 40, and the other guy get 2.5.
Yeah, especially if the other guy is used to getting 1.1. You know what I'm saying? Like, they are paying these guys 2-3 times their biggest purse, and they are not 2 or 3 times bigger than they were in the fight before. And to me, that's just crazy. That's not just pocket watching, that's pocket picking. You're basing your value, you're basing my value on how much money you have. Since when is that how the game go? Yeah. Now, granted, if the
once, let me, and Tim says 1, which I believe you're from Cali, right? That means bye, right?
1.
Yeah, 1. That means bye, right? Yeah, right.
That means that's unity, though. That's love,
right?
That's,
okay,
you know what I mean? He's one of us,
right?
That's great honor.
So okay, so you said since when is that how the game goes, right? When Oscar would pocket 10, 15, and you'd get 600K, maybe your first million. When Floyd would pocket 40 mil and you get 2.5, they were actually drawing that. Correct. Devin Haney is not actually drawing and commanding a $12 million purse on box office, gates, pay-per-view sales, things like that. I'm not saying it's like, yo, they break me off, you know.
No, but he is equating his value to what he's worth to the network. Okay.
Yeah.
They keeping Devin Haney away from Zuffa. He has gotten his profile to the level, and he's proven that he's the guy who will take the fights and fight them and win them. That enough where they're paying him. Part of the money is for him to fight on DAZN. The other part of the money is for him to not fight on Zuffa. That's market value. You know what I mean?
DAZN and Zuffa. So Tim says Haney signed 2 contracts, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you know how I said back.
Give Para the money from Zuffa. Let Zuffa give him the money. He can take the money off of that contract. Go ahead, Sean.
Remember, see, it would seem not to make sense that I said in early June that Devin and Shakur were headed to Zuffa, and they wanted to make that fight between Devin and Shakur, right? Only for Devin in July to sign a deal with DAZN, right? Or maybe even been earlier this month. But it was either late July, early August that then I report, and Dan Raphael reports Devin Haney is headed to DAZN. What if I told you he actually may have signed with both of them and pulled a Pacquiao? What if it was? What if? I don't know. This is something I've heard, and maybe that's why we haven't actually heard an announcement from DAZN yet, or from it. I don't know, but that is something that I heard. And Tim, is that what you were referencing, Tim? Now the suspense is on you replying.
Definitely referencing. That's
is that what you're referencing, Tim?
This is not a riddle.
Would that be considered a form of like a 360 deal? Because you're signed to 2 different entities like DAZN and Zuffa.
No, I mean, then the devil is in the details, right? Like, is there something that he needed to do to trigger that contract to be valid? Did he actually sign 2 binding contracts and just going to perform under one and dare the other one to try to sue him or give him a cease and desist? Like, we don't know. At least I don't know. But it doesn't appear that Zuffa has taken any legal action to stop Devin Haney from making a fight on DAZN. So they must feel like there's something in the contract that is questionable. Otherwise, they're not just going to do that out of the kindness of their heart. I mean, if he played the game, he played the game. You know what I mean? Until you fight somewhere, you're not fighting anywhere. And he's steady trying to fight on the zone and can't get it. Can you imagine if he was on Zuffa? If he can't get any of these fighters from any of these promoters to fight on the network who has all the promoters, what's he gonna do over there at Zuffa? Fight at 144 pounds, and then what's the next goalpost gonna be that Shakur puts in front of him? He has to fight with 1 foot in the corner.
Might as well just do like hopscotch boxing or some shit like that. Like,
you know, and if that did happen, then Bill and Devin probably tricked Shakur out of his position, because while they're chasing fighters and look like they're ready to fight anybody and giving guys 3 times the money, Shakur's just over there tweeting, chilling, talking about everybody else's business, making brothers, expanding his family.
So we touched on this with Tim saying here, if Keyshawn beats Haney, his contract is extended 3 years with Top Rank. And in regards to the 2 contracts, yes, I'm saying Bill is doing bad business. So we said, I floated that out there when Keyshawn turned down the $3 million and the purse bid was he might be angling towards going to Zuffa. And, you know, Raheem said the same thing. And that's right. Top Rank, you know, it's funny. We do talk about these coercive contracts that are supposed to kind of be protected under the current Ali Act, but Top Rank can fuck around and have you for like almost 10 years. That's why Teofimo just got out of his Top Rank deal, because they have these automatic extensions if you win a title, which is kind of a way of circumventing that. To Zuffa's point, I'm being fair here.
Yeah.
And yeah, I know that like Keyshawn, I believe, has 2 fights left on his deal with Top Rank. He wins this Haney fight, then you're in with Tim saying right here, former Top Rank champion, that you get your contract extended 3 years. Top Rank, the most they tend to do, unless your name is Manny Pacquiao, is they're gonna give you a $3 million, maybe a $4 million if you're Terrence Crawford, Lomachenko, guarantee per fight. And I'm very sure Crawford or maybe even Loma, they made more than that guarantee in a given fight with Top Rank, but they're not in the business of a Gennady Golovkin $100 million DAZN deal. Canelo Alvarez, even though he sued Oscar over an 11-fight, $365 million deal. Floyd Mayweather, 6-fight, $250 million deal with Showtime. They don't get down like that. Bob Arum and company will literally be like, well, then go be your own promoter, Oscar. If you want to pay yourself that kind of money, like, unless it's literally an earth-shattering draw, like the fight of the millennium, Trinidad De La Hoya. And that's why guys like Floyd and Oscar and even Cotto eventually are like, okay, I'm going to go do that. But yeah.
It's only bad business if it doesn't work. Because dealing with these promoters and networks, like they'll do any and everything that they need to do to keep their network or promotion company in control. So it's like negotiating off a fighter, right? Like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna go talk to this fighter, pretend like I'm making a fight, maybe even send back and forth some contracts, and if the other fighter who I really want to fight doesn't step up or isn't moving fast enough, he sees me doing business on the other side and starts to get his contract signed, starts to make his offer, starts to get that deal done, and you get the deal done that you want. I think these guys triangulated for their best possible option. And if they're going to get sued, they better start filing. Also, lawsuits are flying right now, and most of them are landing on Zuffa's desk. That's who's getting sued. I mean, if you want to talk about snatching fighters who are under contract, I don't think these guys have much leg to stand on. So they're definitely not going to be making no moral play. And if they're trying to do lawsuit, they're playing that game. I think there's enough paperwork to go around for everybody. That's kind of the game that's gotten them off the ground. You know what I mean? I ask Eddie Hearn about bad business, right? Like ask Ben Shalom about bad business. Let's look at where these fighters are coming from and what is everybody roundly saying. They're getting sued for $1 billion by Frank Warren. Like, this ain't for no reason. So they might have to let this one slide. And who knows what the contract actually says or what makes the contract binding. Because I would imagine if he signed a binding contract that doesn't have no loopholes or no way for him to get out of it, then yeah, they would slap him with a cease and desist. They'd stop it.
What if I said again? One thing I thought about and was worried about, because then people would be like, "Well, what happened to your report that he signed with DAZN?" Although at least Dan Raphael, who's a lot more credible, is on the hook with me too, so that makes me feel a little better. But
maybe he did sign 2 contracts. I just wonder what those contracts said and what makes them binding. You know what I mean?
What I'm worried about is they're going to bury this behind the scenes, and let's say he did do that, and then Zuffa's like, okay, well, do you want to get sued or do you want to do this Shakur fight at 144, something of the like, right? Or Hitchens at 147. Basically, do you want to fight with us since you did maybe allegedly sign a contract or not? And that it would get handled behind closed doors. And then the zone announcement that was supposed to come, that apparently it was finalized, never does get finalized because the zone, Britton Harden, Jared Cass, they have to back off now, and the announcement never comes, and you just see Devin Haney wind up fighting on Zuffa next against either Shakur or Richardson Hitchens, and everybody's left saying, what the fuck happened to that report that he was going to go to the zone? It's like, well, he did, but then once they actually got threatened with the Zuffa shit, then DAZN and Haney had to back off of that and wind up fighting with Zuffa all along. That's when I'd say I think they signed.
You remember when Deontay Wilder felt like he had a contractual obligation out of Tyson Fury for that 3rd fight, and Tyson Fury negotiated for the Joshua fight. They had contracts signed. That fight was ready to go. And what did the Bronze Bomber do? He fucking took him to court, cease and desist, stopped that fight from happening, and forced Fury to do that 3rd fight. If you got contract and you have binding paperwork, that's what you do. So what's Zuffa waiting on? There may be something shady in the acquisition. Like, everybody's trying to be super clever. If I don't know, maybe, and it's very, very possible, Timothy knows a lot more about this firsthand than I do, but from what I'm seeing coming out of all quarters, it looks like the Haneys are playing to win and playing for number 1. I don't think DAZN is stupid, which is maybe why they haven't announced that this thing is signed and sealed and delivered, because maybe there is some ambiguity about it. Maybe it's whoever gets him to fight first. There could be that as well. Like, yeah, I sign with Zuffa if this fight happens, or if this thing happens by this date, or who knows what these clauses are. But the Haneys don't seem shy about clearly negotiating for fights to take place on DAZN, approaching multiple other promoters to work with, and they have no hesitation. They're not being confronted by anybody trying to stop them. So it makes me think that they got legs to stand on.
One comment I want Raheem a chance to address. We get our critics. We're very critical at times, and we get our critics as well. Go ahead, Raheem. Respond to this man. Are you doing a Rolly Romero right now?
Huh? Was that better?
Gotcha. I thought you were doing Rolly Romero to Chris Mannix.
No, listen. When I tune into your show, Obnoxious, I'll listen to you run your mouth. That is how you pronounce your name, right?
Yeah, those are right. In other words, yeah. When Raheem listens to your show, he's he'll let you say as much as you want. But you're tuned into his show.
Listen. I'll use a quote from my girl. I can explain it to you. I can't understand it for you. If you think I'm saying nothing, you probably just don't comprehend it. Get a thesaurus, get your dictionary out, figure out what the words I'm saying mean, and then you'll enjoy the show more. I can explain it to you, but I can't make you understand. I can't understand it for you.
Tim says you can't sign with one promoter and then get upset and run and do a different deal with another group, fam. And I think what Tim's getting at, he heard Shakur was getting more money than Devin and was being the more favored son. And so, screw you guys, I'm going to the zone. Here's what he's saying happened, which you can't actually do that, is Tim's point.
Or
like Hartman, you actually totally can do that. He did it all the time, right? Like,
exactly. I mean, we'll see if you can do that.
BT, any input here? What you think, brother?
I don't have much thoughts, man.
BT actually wants to watch a fight. Like, yeah, that's what he would like to see.
I'm not moved by the minutia of the boxing business. Like, I understand it. Like, I understand why promotional companies have contract extensions and all that stuff, but I'm just not moved by it. Like, do any of you guys actually want to be great? Do any of you guys actually want to stick your flag in the ground and say, like, this is my division, this is my era? Like, I'm just tired of, and I get it. I mean, there's a lot of things that need to be handled before these big fights, and you're being selfish by just saying get in the ring and fight, but it's just not for me. That's not moved by it. That's why I'm just like, I'm listening to you guys.
I'm at it, boys, because I actually want to watch boxing. He's like, call me. Andre Ward said that too, Brendan.
Yeah, did he? Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, I'll say something about Devin and Keyshawn when the fight's actually done. So, all right, fair enough.
That's where I'm at with that.
But we're doing our thug thizzle. Sean, what's your favorite David Lynch film? I've only seen one of them, and I really liked it. Mulholland Drive. I told Raheem he needs to check it out.
God, you're just on about that. Why? What a random question. Have you been quoting David Lynch films or something?
I think he saw. So they showed Beyonce sitting on some creepy fat guy's lap in Hollywood when they called Michael Jackson, and because they were hooking Beyonce up, I think, with like a Michael Jackson sample or cover song or something, like when Beyonce was like 19 or 20, and they're hanging the carrot of her getting to talk to Michael. And he's like, oh, we're gonna call him right now. Go ahead, sit on my lap. Sit on my lap.
I saw that. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
And so Beyonce's doing the, oh my God, it's Michael, and she's disassociating by doing the aw shucks. I'm just so wide-eyed. I'm just such a wide-eyed starlet who's my dreams are actually coming true, and I just can't believe it. Pinch me. Can I be dreaming? It's Michael Jackson. It's like,
wait, are you throwing shade at Beyonce right now?
Telling it like it
I was
is,
looking up David Lynch movies, and then I heard, like in the echo, some shade about the Queen Bee. Are you throwing shade at Beyonce?
We don't do false idol worship here. Yeah, we don't do that.
Well, yeah, but we do real idol worship.
Right? Idol worshiping.
Who's talking about false idol worship? we do legitimate idol worship though, right? What the fuck are you talking about? Boy, you better cool your jets, get back on these Israelis or something that won't get you hurt.
Can I finish? So anyways, what she reminded me of in that moment was Naomi Watts in Mulholland Drive, because Naomi Watts plays this like split character who one side of it. I'm gonna lose everybody in the fucking chat. Like, we're at 356. Everyone's about to leave, but basically Naomi Watts is playing Betty in the beginning, and Betty is the Betty character is, oh my God, I'm in Hollywood and I'm gonna make it. And she has to put up with a lot of director's couch stuff that all these years after 2001 has been proven as very legitimate, the casting couch and all that kind of stuff. But she's got her blinders on and wanting to be a star in Hollywood so bad. And, oh my God, I'm really here living my dream and I have an audition and da-da-da-da. If you see Mulholland Drive, Naomi Watts playing the Betty character was very similar to how Beyonce was kind of behaving in getting groomed and kind of those guys. What's the word, Raheem? They being preyed upon by those kind of Hollywood predators, using the carrot of talking to your idol Michael Jackson to get you to sit on some creepy fat guy's lap that you would never touch with a 10-foot pole unless he wielded this power of your hopes and dreams. So Mulholland Drive's a good movie. Sorry, Raheem.
I haven't seen it. I think I did see it. I don't remember it. But
you sound kind of like I got to see this.
As long as, like what?
You sounded like I kind of got to see this movie now, to be fair.
Yeah. Stay tuned for our next stream. If that was Shade, we're coming back. It's going to be smoke over here.
Those shades.
I'm just going to assume that you've cast Beyonce in the role at very best of the prey of some of these cretins.
Her too.
She has no blemishes and no flaws.
Okay, Raheem. So Tim Bradley says Teofimo will win. That was me and Brennan's take. Raheem has Rolly. So no matter what, Tim, the show is going 1-0 because Raheem has Rolly and me.
We've established that tradition. You know what? We almost have to draw straws sometimes. We've established that tradition. No matter what the fight is, somebody's got to cover the underdog. Somebody's got to take that hit. Yes, this is a good principle. Out of the three of us, we've got to have both fighters covered.
Yeah.
Desert Storm, Timothy Bradley, and you know the damn rest.
What's up, Timothy Bradley, Tim Desert Storm Bradley? You already know the damn rest. Hey man,
that's right.
Teofimo gonna beat the dog shit out of Rolly Romero.
Yeah. I mean, this is a life goal of mine. I want to go to Tim's house for a barbecue. I feel like I want to go to Tim's house, have a barbecue in the afternoon, watch the fights in the evening. That's bucket list shit right there.
Yeah, or his poke restaurant. Damn, but I give Rolly more of a chance than Tim has though. Like I got Tio, but I don't know. Again, my first instinct on the fight was Rolly's the bigger welterweight. Rolly's the stronger welterweight, and he was doing good in the Ryan fight, executing things that gave Tio problems. But at the same time,
go ahead.
Yeah, we already went all through that earlier in the show. So
Tio on points.
So
I'm looking like, come on, chat, throw something at us. What aren't we talking about? What else is there?
Remember Tim said Crawford would still dog walk Boots, and that was your favorite video of last week, Raheem.
I just love the delivery. Like this is Tim makes me laugh, man. Like Crawford. The beautiful thing about being retired at the top of your game is they will always then ascribe to you your absolute best performance against any fantasy fight. They've not seen any diminishing returns. They are not seeing the sunset of your career. They're not watching you lose weapons. They've certainly never seen you lose a fight. So every time for the rest of history, when they say, what about Terrence Crawford versus so-and-so? All we can conjure is peak Terrence Crawford. That is the ideal situation for an athlete to be in. You know what I mean? And so I would agree that, again, Terrence Crawford at his best is going to beat Boots Ennis right now. But we don't know if we've seen Boots Ennis at his best. But right now, 100%. I mean, for multiple reasons, I'd pick Terrence Crawford just because what we've already seen from him. Just because I'm imagining him at his peak and that, Ennis has yet accomplishments to achieve and things to learn. I mean, apparently he was in there against Xander chilling. Well, you're not going to have a couple of rounds to chill against Terrence Crawford.
What's funny is I was feeling like, Terrence still just has some of that edge that Tim and Sean and Andre, they went headstrong into their career as media guys. And right away we're having fun with that, went headstrong into it. They looked like happily retired, ready to eat some good food and kick back. And Terrence at first looked a little bored, having to settle for not beating people up because he likes beating people up, and still had some of that edge to him and competitive enough to lay out to me on Sean's show exactly why he would beat Jaron Ennis, and still not taking a shot at him, but being like, well, he did what he was supposed to do, and Xander wasn't experienced, and I'd be 10 steps ahead of him, and he almost looked irritated. Like, I guess to be fair, he was upset that Errol lost because he wants him to win, but it also seemed like he had that edge of a competitive motherfucker. You were supposed to win to not make my, to help validate my win too, and now I'm kind of mad about that. But so I felt like he still had some of that edge. Like, this guy still wants to fight a little bit, but people like Tim and Sean would assure me, no, he's retired. He's not going to fight Ennis and all that, which he could still come back and fight Canelo conceivably in a rematch. That's an easier fight, a less dangerous, young, speedy, fighter than Boots, and make more money doing it. But once Terrence let me live, after the Zepeda Roach fight, when we talked backstage about the fight, once he let me breathe and let me everything was all good. I go, oh, he really might be done fighting, because he was chill enough to let everything go.
The greats always want to remain great, and they want to have great picks. They want to be great broadcasters. They want to be
he's doing
like
better
Floyd,
now.
Always discussed when great fights come up. Floyd always found a way to get inside the news cycle whenever Canelo had a moment, or whenever another fighter had a big show on. Somehow Floyd tried to snatch the news cycle. And what Crawford understands is part of the reason he is rooting for Spence to win is because a Spence win makes Crawford's win look better over Spence.
Right.
These things are self-serving. And I'm not suggesting that he didn't genuinely want Spence to win, but believe and trust that that's baked in the cake. He wanted Spence to look real good, to beat, to win that fight against Zoo, potentially go on and win another fight, maybe even against Charlo, so that it could be like, wow, yeah, only Crawford could beat him. That, they are one of the parts that is so difficult about a great retiring at the top and staying retired is that they try to find so many different ways to live vicariously now through other people, through teammates, through their city, through being a coach, through being a broadcaster, being a mentor, anything and everything to acclaim some greatness back. But now other people have to do what is seemingly impossible, which is what made these people great in the first place, because nobody else could do what they do. Nobody else could be consistent. Nobody else could win the fight that was unwinnable. And so now they're betting on other people to do it for them, and you become incredibly frustrated. Like Michael Jordan was living and dying in the stands of the Washington Wizards, just trying to be a part of somebody else who could do the impossible. That is a tortured existence. That's part of being great. And when you can't yourself do it anymore, you look for something else to be a part of that can be as great as you once were, and you continue to be disappointed.
And that's why he's in camp with Lester Martinez, trying to still feel those feelings of being a fighter. And I haven't ruled it out. I mean, he might. I know he's saying he won't come back, but I mean, he hasn't been fully retired for a year just yet. He still isn't deemed an active fighter just yet. So I think it's possible.
It's definitely possible. Until somebody cuts one of his legs off, or God forbid that tragic day when God comes and lays us all to rest, if that day comes with Terrence Crawford, he will then, on my book, be retired. But as long as a fighter can climb through those ropes and somebody's willing to pay him a buck to get in there, there's a possibility of it coming back.
So, Donnie Perez, Sean, have you considered maybe Bud doesn't really see Boots as a threat? No, not at all. I think he definitely sees Jaron Ennis as a threat, and has ever since around the time of the Errol Spence fight. I don't think the BLK Prime offer was a real offer. I think it was something to shut him up. And Bud Crawford's not the type to care about winning a PR war, so I won't say quite that. But Ennis at that time had an exclusive contract with Showtime, which I would assume went defunct once Showtime went defunct and went out of business, at least pulled its plug on its boxing programming, and that allowed Ennis to become a free agent. And soon thereafter, he signed with Eddie Hearn in Matchroom. So trying to offer him a fight on BLK Prime when contractually his hands are tied to Showtime, if I know that, and then what was Crawford's very next fight on? Showtime. So it's like if you really wanted to fight Jerron, you fought Errol Spence on, just like you fought Errol Spence on Showtime, you could have fought Jerron Ennis on Showtime. The truth is, Ennis isn't at that time not a draw at all, not proven at all. All he presented was an extremely dangerous fight for anybody, including Terrence Crawford. That Crawford, in all likelihood, would have won because he had no experience and he was still, but yeah, Ennis was always a threat. And I think Ennis, a year or two before the Spence fight, was the biggest threat to Terrence Crawford. I remember Bernie the boxer came up to me at the workout that Crawford had for Spence at the UFC PI, and he said, he pulled up on me with that energy of like, why are you trying to make it seem like Terrence is ducking boots and this and that? And I was like, I don't think he's ducking boots, but I do think that is the biggest threat to him, not Errol Spence. I know what's about to happen next Saturday night against Errol Spence. I picked Terrence Crawford by knockout. The Ennis fight is very dangerous, and I said it wasn't right when Terrence was being frozen out by Thurman or Spence or whoever, right? Just like I don't think long-term it's right if Boots doesn't get a shot against Crawford. And, that was the Bernard Hopkins, Jermaine Taylor fight I wanted to see from Terrence Crawford right after beating Spence. I didn't want to see him do business with Riyadh Season and fight in LA against Majimov at 54 and then look to the Canelo fight. I knew him and Canelo fighting was going to cancel out the two opportunities for now. Everyone agrees with me on this, are the two most exciting American fighters in the game, and David Benavidez and Jerron Ennis. I wanted to see those two guys who had the talent and the mentality to carry the torch forward for the sport of boxing into the next era in the United States. I wanted to see them get their shot at Bud and Canelo. And instead, they told both of them Canelo much more egregiously than Bud, because Benavidez had proven something, was a multiple-time champion, what presented the kind of box office appeal that Canelo could have fought David Benavidez at Allegiant Stadium, just like he fought Terrence Crawford at Allegiant Stadium. The only way Terrence Crawford was going to fight at Allegiant Stadium was fighting Canelo. So for Terrence, it's a little bit more forgivable. But Benavidez had been a guy who had proven himself as the clear-cut top dog. Anyways, you get the point. I wanted them to fight Boots and Benavidez. And go ahead, Brennan.
By the time the Errol Spence, Terrence Crawford got here, I vividly remember saying that Terrence Crawford versus Errol Spence was no longer number one versus number two. All right? I feel that Jerron Ennis, at that time, even despite not having the belts, I felt the true number one versus number two fight was Terrence Crawford versus Jerron Ennis. And it's a shame we didn't get it. I would have loved to have seen Terrence in there with such a dynamic offensive fighter like Jerron Ennis. And yeah, man, I just hate it, man. I love fighters, but fighters can really be hypocrites sometimes, man. Like, we can all be. I'm a hypocrite, we all are. But you get frozen out, you get boxed out. Terrence was a guy that nobody wanted out of the amateurs. No major promoter wanted him out of the amateurs because they didn't think a guy from Omaha, Nebraska could sell. He was a good amateur, but he wasn't like some of the other guys in his class. And he complained all these years about getting boxed out, and once he got to a certain level, he did the same thing. And it's a shame because please spare me all the stuff about how Boots never proven anything, because he fought Majimov. I'm gonna add Sean Rahim. And I'll add, who did Majimov beat for the world title? Do you guys remember the fighter that Majimov defeated for the world title?
Rahim, you answer first. So
I'll give you about 10, 15 seconds.
No.
Rahim, first.
It was a guy named Magomed Kurbanov. All right,
that was what I was gonna get.
That's what he beat for the title. So it's like we can go on and on about what Boots didn't prove or what he did prove, but like, bro, you fought Madrimov, and I know he had a belt, so I understand it, but I would have rather him fought Jaron Ennis at that particular time.
A vacant belt that he had never actually defended. Okay, so this is where TB walked into a nice shot from me on this one. Who the fuck has Boots beaten on Bud's level? Brendan, what was the first fight I got to attend at 13 years old at the MGM Grand Garden Arena?
It was Bernard Hopkins, Jermaine Taylor.
One. And what was the tagline of that fight? You remember?
I don't remember right now, no.
It was called Next in Line with a capital X. It was called Next in Line because Jermaine Taylor was next in line. Okay. And who had Jermaine Taylor beat? A washed version of William Joppy and Raul Marquez. Okay. He basically, in terms of fighters at the championship level who actually had an active pulse, nobody. But you know what Bernard Hopkins did, Tim? And I know Terrence is built like Bernard, mean like Bernard, cagey like Bernard. Bernard said, give me that motherfucker. I could move up and fight Roy Jones in a rematch. I can fight Antonio Tarver. I'm gonna get to Antonio Tarver. I'm gonna tap that ass next year for the and for the light heavyweight title. But before I leave 160, even though I'm becoming a skeleton at 160, and I have no business making this weight class anymore, and I'm 40 years old and he's 26, I'm gonna fight Jermaine Taylor, and I'm gonna fight him on HBO. And Jermaine Taylor beat him. He shouldn't have beat him. If Dwayne Ford scores the 12th round correctly, he doesn't beat him. But Bernard gave him that smoke, and Jermaine, even with that huge gap in experience, the younger, faster, more athletic fighter beat the greater, much more experienced and decorated fighter. So, you know, that's my counter shot to that.
I'd say the question being, who the fuck has Boots beaten on Bud's level?
Karen.
Who the fuck is on Bud's level? I think the point is that nobody's on Bud Crawford's level, and Boots can only get on Terrence Crawford's level by beating Terrence Crawford. and there are people out there who think he can. And because he's the star of the moment, he's just claimed these world titles. Crawford's not fighting anybody by evidence of his retirement. That becomes the talking point. And so that's how you coax a guy into the ring, because enough people saying that Bud will beat, or that Boots will beat Bud, that Boots is better, that Boots might have more upside, that Boots will beat guys that Bud maybe wouldn't have beaten. That's just how you get him out on his ego. There's nobody to compare Boots to have beaten to say that he's beaten a Bud Crawford, because Bud Crawford's the only Bud Crawford of this era.
But Boots won't tug on Superman's cape. He won't do it.
I know. I don't know why I won't do it.
You think if Bud came out of retirement and said, let's get it, that Boots is turning the fight down?
No, but all you got to do is talk crazy.
You're not Rocky with the statue being unveiled. You're Clubber Lang, and you're not doing. I know that, like, not doing nothing. So don't give this man a statue. Give him guts. I told you I wasn't going away. You had your shot. Now give me mine. He's not doing none of that.
What the fuck? What are we talking about?
So
are you saying that Boots don't want the Crawford fight?
What he's saying is he's not being Clubber Lang. He's not acting. He's not talking in such a way that's gonna trigger Terrence to come out of retirement, because Boots doesn't really like talk trash or anything like that.
Oh,
that's
yeah,
not really
I
his
wouldn't
thing.
either.
Yeah,
he's gonna lose. Why would he do that? Let
he lose, bro.
Say it.
I don't know.
And then him be like, "Hey, I'm not about to be clout chasing. This guy's retired. Why you keep talking about this guy?" That works for him. He's playing it right.
Yeah,
that's how you do that. 100%. Yeah. And let the years tick by. You get better. You know what I mean? He's not no spring chicken himself. You know what I mean? So he's he's gonna need as much advantage if that fight would ever come across his desk as possible. But yeah, let other people say that, and you pursue your career under the guise of maybe I could beat Boots. That's as good as it's ever gonna get.
Yeah. Everybody asks the question of like who has Boots beat on level of Bud, which nobody's on Bud's level, but like which fighter could you say offensively that Terrence fought would you say is on the level of Jaron Boots Ennis?
And hand speed,
versatility. Yeah. You can't. I feel like in that matchup you really can't downplay either guy. Anybody who is doing any sort of downplaying has an agenda for their guy not to be in that fight for whatever reason.
I'm going to pick Boots just to keep the show 1-0. Raheem has Crawford. He's already. I'm going to go Boots. Like, yeah, I'm going to go Boots. Jermaine beat Bernard, and Jermaine is not half as great a fighter as Bernard, but you get him at a decade age advantage, and you're the faster guy. With the better. But I remember Jim Lampley saying, this is a fight about the mind versus the body. And the fighter, the 26-year-old entering the ring tonight, is the one with the body. And that was Jermaine Taylor. And, so that would be, to a degree, the case with Bud and Boots. But we got a super chat that said, did you guys cover Hamza's fear of Janibek?
Oh, God. We're going to talk about Hamza?
Well, Brendan, see, I got flack for thinking Pacheco could beat Shiraz, thinking it's Brendan on the other hand is just not a Hamza Shiraz guy at all.
Nah. Well, like I've been following him since before he even got Ring Magazine pushing him down our throats. And I remember he was doing those interviews on Ellie's channel with Ricky Funes, and his whole thing was he was the British guy who came to America who could deal with all the trash talking Yanks and sparring. Then I watched him fight a couple of times on some Frank Warren undercards, and I was like, oh, he's cool. He's decent. And then he beat Berlanga, and everyone's like, he's this killer, and Diego Pacheco wouldn't have a chance against him. And I'm like, I don't know. I think stylistically, especially with Buddy McGirt in his corner, I like the fight for Diego. As far as Janibek, I mean, you think he's really scared of him? I don't know if he's scared of him. I mean, the guy did test positive for something. He's not out of bounds for feeling that way. And I'm saying this as a guy who's been hypercritical of who he's like the caliber of opposition he's been fighting recently. Like he's not out of pocket to feel that way.
I'd be scared of him. I'm scared of a juiced fighter who gets suspended and gets a title shot right out of jail. Like, I'm scared of those connections. Like, do I gotta knock this guy out to get a draw? What's he gonna be allowed to be on next time he's in the ring? Like, I'm terrified.
I mean, this is the fight that the Saudis wanted, because before Hamza fought Carlos Adames, I remember they faced off over there in Riyadh. So here they are.
Why would they want it though? I thought they were trying to build Canelo being faded and see if Shiraz could beat him. And what are they punishing him because Shiraz isn't going to leave Frank Warren or can't leave Frank Warren? Or remember Frank Warren had his own beef with Turkey and Zuffa, and I don't know.
God, I don't know what the reasoning is. Hamza is like he's supposedly supposed to be like the golden boy of Riyadh season. So I'm actually a bit surprised. If this fight actually does happen, I would actually be a little surprised because he's the guy that they're looking after. Like look at the guy he fought for the title. I can't even remember his name. I think his name was like Alan Begich or something like that. Some guy I never heard of. But he was pretty sizable underdog in that fight. And they had another guy in the rankings, Jacob Bank, who was the mandatory or was supposed to get the shot. They passed over him. Then he fought the guy Simon from Germany, who made him look bad. So I mean, Hamza, I do get where people want to criticize Hamza because he has fought recently since the Adames fight, pretty soft competition. But no, the guy was tested positive and he's getting a title shot. Now it's different if the WBO wanted to reinstate Johnny Beck into the rankings because they feel like he was wronged and there was something with the medication, which I still think was bullshit. But I mean, if they wanted to, they could do that. But why reinstate him and then give him a mandatory position? That's too much.
because they want to reinstate him as champion.
Yeah.
But I don't know if he's Shiraz, like he's fighting a much bigger guy now at super middleweight.
He hasn't even been retired long enough for the drugs to be out of his system. Like the suspension isn't even long enough. He's probably still popping dirty right now. Listen, there's something smelly in Denmark. We've already entered this era now where the sanctioning bodies have just thrown off any veil of consistency. Now they're just at war, trying to make their fights the ones that people want to see, get their percentage of these purses. Their regulations and standards are completely out the window, and they're making the fights that are the biggest fights that people want to see, putting the championship belts on the fighters who are going to make them the most money, or at least carry the most favor with the promoters who are in the pockets. And this whole thing has been completely exposed. And yes, I believe you can credit Zuffa with putting the pressure on them to expose them. They folded immediately. As soon as there was another game in town that was presenting some kind of opposition to their structure and formula, they changed the game completely so that they could protect their interest. Exactly. So we're seeing what it's really all about. And it's not about whatever your rules and regulations are, or what you say constitutes ranking systems and who should get a fair shot. The whole point of a transparent ranking system is so that fighters who are not marquee draws, who don't have big promoters and can't get those backroom deals, get in position if they fought their way to be in position to get title shots, so that the whole thing isn't some kind of monopoly of the elite in the sport. But as soon as that was put to the test, and those guys are the first logs on the fire, they were the first ones to get burnt to a crisp. And now it's clear the only way you're getting yourself lined up for a title shot is if a promoter can put you in position, or if the fight's big enough for the sanctioning body sees it in their best interest to get that percentage of the purse. The only way you're going to be able to keep your title, even if you manage to win it, is if you consistently are a big draw, or you have a big promoter who can keep putting you in big fights. They are going to now micromanage where these belts go and who gets a shot at them. And they're going to be less and less mysterious about exactly what they're doing. They're about to be, bold faced with it. It's a ham-fisted authoritarian moment that we're in, globally, politically, and in the side of the politics of boxing. Everybody's about that strong arm right now.
Yeah.
Sanctioning bodies betrayed themselves. They've just proven that it was all bullshit from the beginning.
And it's getting agitating that the sanctioning bodies won't clean it up just a little bit, because you would think with the presence of Zuffa in the picture that they would actually start following. The feds is watching. The big dogs at the door. Tighten
You're
up.
gonna get us all fucking pinched.
Tighten up. Every I guess shit show that we have in the sanctioning bodies with the rankings and things like that you're just further proving Zuffa's point, and they're going to use it all against you.
Shiraz said that on Helwani.
And on top of that, it's also very telling that the minute Zuffa came into the fold, all of a sudden we've seen these conventions for years, WBC, WBA, all that. This year we're having the first ever unified convention in December with the WBO and the IBF. We couldn't get those for years, but now all of a sudden they want to hold hands and sing Kumbaya. So, it's very telling.
All right. From Chiquita. Go ahead, Raheem. Then we got to get to a couple.
Let me just, because that's an incredibly salient point. Seriously, do you want to be Brandon, or is it True School?
I'll be Brandon.
Okay, Brandon.
He still calls him Brandon.
It's Brendan.
It's Brendan. Or Raheem, if it's easier, my initials, BT.
BT. Okay. All right.
Most people call it that anyway.
He's made an incredible point. I'm just going to use your pronouns.
Go ahead.
Because taking the veil off of what they purport to do is telling, because what they were doing was not satisfying the fans, and it would potentially be frustrating to the promoters. And so showing that they had that power and occasionally doing the thing that nobody wanted them to do was really just performative, so that they could get more money out of the promoter to get their guy in position. They'd keep certain guys at bay, let them wither on the vine. They would make certain other fights and let champions hold their belts, even though they're not fighting inexplicably. They would pull all the shenanigans because they had there was nobody in them to account. But as soon as they're faced with this challenge, they throw all of that out the window, because if they did what they said that they would do by the rules that they themselves have set down, they couldn't compete consistently with big fights. They couldn't satisfy the fans on a regular basis. They wouldn't get the big purse percentages all the time. They would have to actually go through the process of letting guys get title shots who are not necessarily in the best interest of the sanctioning bodies to be world champions. And some of those guys are going to get upsets. Some of those guys are going to win. Some of those guys are going to be world champion, which is what boxing is supposed to be about. You're supposed to have that shot. You're supposed to have your Rocky opportunity. You're supposed to get your rematch if you beat Apollo, you know what I mean? Or at least you do well enough against Apollo. Like that. But so boxing in that sense sometimes is a slow build. Sometimes it takes a while to cook the fight. Sometimes it takes a few years to get to find out who the two best guys really are. And it's not going to be Ryan Garcia and Conor Benn right now. You know what I mean? If both of those guys had to fight a year or so longer before they face each other to prove that really is the matchup that the WBC should be having, I would suggest to you that one, or if not both of them, would not meet the mark a year and a half from now. Conor Benn's going to get beat by somebody else. Ryan Garcia might get beat in the rematch with Rolly, and then that whole shit is cooked. Like, so you can't take that chance if you're the sanctioning body now. You got to do that fight right now. What does that do? That stops the fans and Zuffa from criticizing how you don't get the big fights when you want them. Well, we're getting them now, but we're criticizing because they're getting them too early. We don't even know if these are actually the big fights. These are just the fights that might be big one day.
That's part of having mandatories, because, you know, if a guy can't get past his mandatory challenger, then why should he be involved in the big fight? You know? And then you look at, like, I remember I had a conversation with Rolly-Teofimo within the last couple of months, and he was complaining. He was waffling about all these guys ducking him. Well, Ryan Garcia ducked the rematch. Devin Haney ducked me. This guy ducked me. So I said, okay, Rolly, well, you know, if you can't get no big fights, what about fighting your mandatory challenger, you know, Jack Catterall? Why not that? Just stay busy. And he looked at me in my eyes, Sean and Raheem, and he said, do you really think me, Rolly-Teofimo, cares about mandatories? I do what I want. And that's very telling of where we're at.
Yeah, he said, "You damn right you do, champ."
Yes, and that's why I got the chain. That's why he has a WBA chain and not a WBO or IBF or WBC chain. And then, you know, you also look at even like with the WBC. I know this guy's not a big name fighter, but he was their mandatory, and he's which is Suleiman Sissoko. He beat Mean Machine. He became the mandatory.
Made the right call on that one. I'll back. No.
Well, listen, we're talking about rules and regulations and following rules and regulations.
You're right.
He was their mandatory challenger, and they let Manny Pacquiao skip the line. They let Conor Benn, who hasn't fought at welterweight in like 4 years, you know, now he's getting a shot. So,
and Sissoko does have that sweet self-titled walkout song he has.
Sissoko.
Yeah.
Sissoko.
But I think in some cases they're even if that's what you're trying to do, they don't always even do that right. Like, again, okay, well, if that's the case, then what the fuck is this Ortiz versus Fundora thing? Like, that's the big fight to make, and you would actually be following your own rules, mandating that one. And then Benavidez Opataya, you want to play into the hands of Zuffa, you strip Mikhailian so that David could win the WBC belt against the Polish interim champion. Like, that's checkers. No. What you do is you don't play into their hand. You let Mikhailian have the belt. You let Opataya beat him, which he will surely beat him. And then you make David fight for the interim title, and then you mandate that fight, and you force Zuffa's hand to have to work with you, potentially have to work with PBC. If David stays with them, you only got that one fight left at the end of this year. But if you strip Mikhailian, now you're allowing them to weaponize, deservedly, how full of shit you are. And David, if you got to fight, it puts the boxing world public pressure on David to, if you're really the best cruiserweight in the world, you got to fight Jai Opetaia, and you might have to go to Zuffa to make it happen. You might you push, and you can you still at the last hour have enough leverage with your title that if you play it right, you could be the good guy and not get painted deservedly as the bad guy. But they don't. Anyways, let's save more of that for another day. Let's get to a couple super chats.
Okay, all right.
Shakian Talks Boxing says, what fighter loss hurt you the most? I'll start because a lot of them hurt me. Growing up boxing. When Eric Morales lost the trilogy to Manny Pacquiao, I can't tell the full story, but I walked out of my seat at the Thomas and Mack so disgusted. I would usually autograph, go get after, try to crash the post fight. I was really upset. I almost cried. I couldn't. And in the second fight, I was at both at Thomas and Mack, the second and third fight. When he went down, this is how much I thought of Eric Morales as a heroic fighter. I genuinely thought he slipped. This doesn't happen. This can't be happening. Eric Morales doesn't go down. Eric Morales has the greatest fucking chin in the world. Like, what just happened? Why is the ref counting? Okay, all right, he's fine. He gets up and he goes down the second time. He gets stopped, and I was like, what just happened? That's impossible. So that Hopkins Taylor 1 was the first fight I went to, but when they announced and knew, that was a gut punch. I was actually really sad when Manny Pacquiao tore up Miguel Cotto.
Mm.
When I really loved Cotto, and
you had a poster.
I had the poster of Cotto in my room. And when Pacquiao tore up Cotto, that hurt. When Pacquiao is the common denominator here. When Pacquiao beat up Oscar because Oscar was a corpse in the ring, that broke my heart. When Pacquiao beat up Barrera, because I love Barrera, that broke my heart. When Pacquiao beat the shit out of Morales and made him quit, which first I thought it was impossible to drop him, but surely you can't make Eric Morales quit. And then he does both back to back. That was too much for me to handle. I think and I went to school, and Filipinos were like, they were just happy. And they're like, Sean Pacquiao, he beat Morales. I was like, get the fuck out of my face. You don't know shit about boxing. Eric's old and can't make weight anymore. And all. They're like, whoa, we were just happy that Manny Pacquiao won. Like, go back here. So anytime like Hopkins or Barrera or Morales or Cotto lost, or when Roy Jones, I had ordered the fight, and there was this my track teammate Adam, and he had his girlfriend Michelle there, and I was like, oh shit, that's right, Roy Jones is fighting Calzaghe tonight. I ordered the pay-per-view. They're like, hey, we're gonna stick around to watch the fight. They don't know shit about boxing. They don't care. And I'm like, okay, but just so you know, shit gets real in the living room. Like when I order a pay-per-view, like, okay, but we're about that life. We're really okay. We're gonna lock in. So the fight starts, and Roy drops Calzaghe. And I'm like, yeah, because I'm thinking Roy has no chance, but I love Roy so much. My least favorite thing in boxing is watching a great fighter lose because he's old, not because the other guy's better. If it's a great fighter and I love them and they lose because they're shot, that always breaks my heart. And so Roy, he drops him in the first round. I'm jumping up and down. I'm happy. The fight gets away from him fairly soon after that. Calzaghe's cooking him. And I'm just irate, and they're enjoying the fight. They're like, yo, this is a good fight. We're enjoying this. I'm like, no, that's not fucking Roy Jones. That's not Roy Jones. It's a bull. If he was in his prime, I'm like I want to like type up the YouTube highlights and show them what Roy looked like. And so that they were like, again, they were like the Filipinos at school, like, whoa, dude, we just thought like you liked boxing, and we kind of enjoyed what we were seeing. And I was so upset. Anyways, those are the ones that come to mind. Sorry.
Big time?
Oh, Yeah, I'll go next. The two that come to mind.
You see that?
Big Tom, yeah. BT. Now, the two that come to mind, I'll say surprisingly, as I was thinking about it, I was very heartbroken that Joshua Clottey fell short against Miguel Cotto. I'm going to tell you why. There's a whole story behind this, even though I'm Puerto Rican. Now, at the time, I think I was 14. I was 14 years old. I was living in New Hampshire with some family at the time. I had moved from Florida to New Hampshire for like a year. And I remember there was like this, I guess you could say like a lounge that we'd all congregate at for Miguel Cotto fights. And so I like Miguel Cotto, but I just remember I used to get agitated because I felt like some of my family members, even my dad, I felt like they're overrated Miguel Cotto just a little bit, like, you know, and then so he's fighting Joshua Clottey, and I remember in the fight, you know, Clottey winds up dropping him early in the fight, and it was a fight that I felt Clottey could have won had he just did a bit more in the middle of the later round. So when he didn't get the decision, I mean, I wasn't like angry. I wasn't sad, but I was kind of pissed off just because people in my family I felt were overrating that version of Miguel Cotto.
But Brendan, Cotto dropped Clottey. It was off a jab.
Was it Cotto dropping Clottey?
The guy who was very upset that Cotto would lose. So just to remind, you know, I'm old.
Okay.
Cotto actually dropped Clottey in round.
Was it Cotto dropping Clottey?
It was off a jab.
Well, I just remember Joshua Clottey being very close in the fight, and he could have won if he would have did a little more.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I got to fact check it now.
Go ahead. I might be wrong.
No. It's Clottey dropped Cotto in the first round.
You're right. My bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. So, yeah, I was just annoyed. I was really annoyed, and it went on. It went on for like after the fight ended. It went on for like.
Cotto dropped it.
Okay. Well, after the fight, like it didn't just end that night. It was like for weeks on end. I was just hearing about Miguel Cotto, and they thought that he was still like the Cotto of old, and I didn't feel that way, and they were getting my case for not feeling that way and not agreeing with them. So there was that fight, and then Romo Gonzalez wrong for side 2. That was an annoying one because I was yeah. Well, no, that's the rematch.
Oh, you were there though. When Rolly got splatted in foot. Yeah.
Well, I wasn't there, but I was in Florida, and it was during Hurricane Irma, so there was we had no power. We had no power where I was staying because of the hurricane. So I had to hear about him getting knocked the fuck out in 4 rounds, and then it just kind of broke my heart because people that don't really watch a lot of weight categories, they had just now started to see him on HBO. And now he got splattered, and they're like, okay, well, he was always overrated, and that really pissed me off because Romo Gonzalez is a great fighter.
Raheem was that guy.
Yeah, I'm sure he was, because to his point earlier, Raheem, you're not a grown man until you're at 147 pounds.
That's the shit Raheem was on. So when he got knocked out, Raheem was kind of like that. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of remember that Raheem.
Yeah, so those are my two. But go ahead, Raheem.
It hurts my heart to even have to bring this up. Triple G Canelo won. Changed the trajectory of history. Triple G won that fucking fight. If he gets credit for the win, I think the second fight, let's just assume it goes exactly the way it would have. It did go, which we will never know because Triple G didn't get the win. But if he had gotten the win, he's up on Canelo. He's got the championships. He's won that moment. Triple G is the man. He's beating Canelo. And then let's say the rematch goes exactly the way the rematch ultimately went. I had the rematch as a draw. Triple G retains his title. I don't think we see a third fight. I think the entire trajectory of that middleweight history is rewritten. And we'd find out what Triple G would mean to the division. We'd find out what Canelo would do recouping from that. Mexican meat and all. This changed the history of boxing in a way that is unfixable. Like, that hurt me in the moment. It hurts me still. When I see Triple G, I feel bad. I not just feel bad for him. I feel bad for us as a sport, as a community, as a travesty, mockery. When I see Adelaide Bird still fucking doesn't fights, I feel like an abused boy in the Catholic Church who's still going to see the same priest. Like, how are we not? Are we just moving these? You're just moving them around? Just new churches every year? What is going on? How does she still have a pencil and pad? Like, this is a Travis Shamockery on the entire sport. It's a blight, and we haven't dealt with it as such. That's one. Now the next one, actually, give me a minute. I'm not going to go into detail because I got a whole thing. But the next one didn't hurt me in real time. It hurts me as I look back on history. It's one of these things that I realize the travesty of it and the depth of the injustice and the cause for the injustice. Larry Holmes and Spinks. 1 and 2. Because Larry Holmes should have been the first to 50-0. He should have been the first to break that Marciano record. If he had gotten the decision in the first fight, which he definitely should have got, and we know why he didn't, because he was not a nice guy. He was not playing ball. He was talking shit. Nobody wanted him to break that Marciano White Hope record. And nobody wanted to see Larry Holmes transplant Rocky Marciano, not even to tie the record, much less beat it. And so they stole that from him because they didn't like him. They stole that from him because he was black and they didn't like him. They stole that from him because they wanted this white boy to remain 49-0 and be able to be like, every time we bring up a white man got to bring up Rocky Marciano. They wanted that to still remain as what happens in the black barbershop. And then he went on to beat Spinks again. And they robbed him worse the second time. So if he gets both of those fights, which he earned, he's 50-0. And I don't have to listen to this TBE bullshit like another second. And that takes me to my third, well, I guess fourth, if you want to count it that way, or potentially fifth, if you want to count all the rematches I've also included. And this one stings as much as the first one, and not any more or less than the second one. Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather. Yes. That's one of the fights, one of the losses that hurt me the worst was Conor McGregor. And you know why? It's not because Conor McGregor, I wanted him to win, but because I knew when he lost that Floyd Mayweather would suggest that he now owns this record. That fight, him losing that fight, meant that I was going to have to listen to fucking Floyd Mayweather talk about how he's 50-0 for the rest of my days when we all know he's 49-0. And if Conor McGregor hadn't lost that fight, I wouldn't have to put up with this bullshit, which is insult to injury on top of what they did to Larry Holmes. The fact that Floyd is talking about he's 50-0 after what they did to Larry Holmes off the back of a Conor McGregor win, whose first time ever lacing up a pair of boxing gloves in the ring. That's how you break that record? That I have to take medication to suffer through these 5 different fights and continue to not actually lose my shit every time they brought up. So you know what I mean? Like, now this simple one question has probably added 3 or 4 months of therapy to my bill. Like, these are the kind of things I can't even ruminate on. It's that upsetting, and we're all failures. The entire community of the boxing, the fights I just named, these are our scarlet letters. These are humiliations for the sport.
Guys, I interrupt with an emergency message. I guess people in the chat are letting us know that Amanda Serrano is kind of going life or death right now with Mansoor halfway through her fight. You guys want to go to the YouTube of MVP? It's being broadcast right now.
Hey, wait. Should we just do the rest of the fight?
Yeah, maybe.
Should we just do a watch along? Let's just pull it up on our phones and do a watch along.
My man Jermaine Howlett, who I met in Brooklyn, professional fighter right now. I think 8 or 9-0. What percentage of fighters do you think are on juice? I'm going to say as low as 20. 20 at the championship.
Hold on. How do I find this Serrano fight? Where's it at?
Go to YouTube and go to the MVP channel. Just look up Amanda Serrano, and it's live right now on MVP's YouTube.
Got it. Let's do this watch along.
Let's see.
All right, I'm 30 seconds left in the 7th round.
I'm at like 24.
Okay, shit. Let me see if I can. Fast forward this a little bit. Oh yeah, I'm at 15 seconds now.
Okay, now I'm at 16 right now.
Okay, cool.
Okay, I'm in it.
I know she's going for like the women's boxing knockout record. That's the only thing I know about this fight.
Oh, shit, I got no juice in this phone. Hold on, fellas.
46,000 people watching this fight on YouTube.
Yeah, shout out to everybody in the chat rocking with us, man. First episode feels like a wild success so far.
Yeah, no wonder there's only about 300 people in, because now they're starting to all watch the Amanda Serrano fight. I didn't know we were at competition.
Yeah.
Amanda Serrano fight on YouTube. That's not fair. Clearly, we'd have 46,000 people watching.
So you know what, Sean? What we can do all the network executives do. We can say, well, despite the Serrano fight being on, we still generated we had 300 concurrent viewers at one particular point.
We had 450 at our highest. So.
At our highest, of course.
All right, so we're Serrano. She's been in a lot of wars, man. A lot of wars.
Shout out to Mike Basil, legendary
cut man in there. There's people berating Serrano as trash in the chat. It's probably Clarissa Shields fans. Look, we're Clarissa.
It's probably Clarissa Shields. It's her alter ego where she be calling people up and pretending to be somebody else.
Make sure you mute the fight though, Raheem, if you're watching.
Oh, can you hear it? Fuck.
Yeah. Make sure you mute the fight. So
okay. I'm a minute 33 in the eighth. Is that right?
Yeah, that's about where I'm at too.
I'm at I'm a little behind.
We can only really score it from here on out and tell you who we think is winning the fight. But
yeah.
This
action.
The man he scored a couple right hands so far. She's finding a home for that right hand.
He's getting off. Yeah.
This is wild. I took the metro through East LA to get to my mom's house. This looks like the chick that was on the train.
Mansoor you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez. You know what I mean? Like,
a lot of them can fight.
She's bulldogging it.
Yeah, Serrano definitely got the length advantage, and
I mean, is Serrano gas? I mean, I don't know what's happened in the first 7 rounds, but it seemed like Serrano should just be able to keep her at the end. But
she's laboring and breathing really hard right now.
She's had a lot of wars.
Look at Mansoor up on her toes. You see that bounce? She's bouncing in and out. Her legs are underneath her. She got everything on her legs right now. Nice uppercut from Serrano, though. I mean, it's okay. We're backing up Mansoor. Is it Mansoor or is it Para?
Yeah. Mansoor.
Yeah. What do we think they're telling Serrano in the corner right now, going into the 9th round, just based on what we've seen?
You gotta hit her.
Where's your power?
You're gonna hate yourself. You're gonna hate yourself
tomorrow. Jesus.
On the end of your shots.
Nah.
I mean, in the highlight, that was a nice combo.
Probably keep her left hand up because she's got hit with a couple right hands.
Keep her on the end of the shots. Keep turning her a little bit. Touch the body. Finish up top. But I think mainly keep her on the end of your shots. Don't let this girl smother you, get close. She's going to bounce a little bit, it looks like. Try to wing a right hand over the top. So that's why Brennan's saying keep your left hand up with that occasional right hand over the top. Yes. Serrano's getting off first, though, starting with her jab. And she is stepping over to her right.
But Mansoor must have some power here because when she's landing that right hand, she's getting Serrano on the back foot.
Yeah, she is landing right hands, but
it's the in and out too. It's her getting in and out and then throwing the right hand. That's really troubling Serrano.
Well, you're seeing a great fighter that's past her best. A lot of wars, a lot of rounds, a lot of fights, a lot of facial tissue damage over the years. Fighting, a burly, tough, strong Mexican girl. One that she would have tore up a couple years ago with ease, really, would have put a paint job on her. But she's feeling her age in all those rounds and miles on the odometer right now. But she's still getting off a lot. She's still getting off first a lot more.
She's finding a nice home for her left hand.
Yeah.
As the progresses.
But the power is not there for her right now in the 9th round. She's not doesn't have a lot of steam on her shots, but she's winning this round. Yeah, I think she's winning this round.
Looks like Mansour's is putting her head down and throwing these shots over her own eyebrow, and yet they're still finding the mark.
Yep. That left hand, that little left hook she's throwing.
That makes me feel like it's Serrano's legs that are betraying her. Like she should be able to get out of the way, especially at the distance she's at.
Got hit with a good left hook there near the last 10 seconds. But yeah, I mean, that's supposed to be the first thing that goes for an aged great fighter is the legs, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I feel like just for the sense I get watching it right now is we're headed towards a fight where this aged great fighter is going to win, and it's going to be a little controversial because she looks her age, she looks not herself, and this other girl's making it rough. She's bruising her up. She's landing some shots. And it's going to leave a lot of people feeling like Mansour got robbed. But from what I'm seeing, Serrano is being busy enough.
What it's also going to be is a fight that is remembered as entertaining. It's going to be one of those, end of the career. This fight shouldn't have been nearly as tough as it was. But you got everybody in the crowd up off of their chairs for the final round. And the fight there's some jeopardy in it, apparently. If you fight this long with as much as Serrano has done, as much as she's accomplished, as much money as she's made, then this is what you're waiting for. Like you're fighting because you're willing to have these kind of fights with this level of competition just so you can stay fighting. Like there's really no reason for Serrano to be in there, but she is breaking a record tonight, right? Like this is.
If she gets a stoppage.
She needs a knockout to break the record.
Correct.
I don't think
correct.
That. Maybe that's why. Like we don't know what happened in the first 7 rounds. Maybe that's why she's fighting this way, because she's fighting for a knockout, and she's allowing herself to be in harm's way more than necessary, trying to get it.
That's the whole promotion's been about the knockout record. That's all I've been hearing about when it comes to this whole promotion. That and the fact that it's I think it's the first card they're doing on TikTok Live.
I mean, that's her style anyways, though. She is a female knockout artist, pretty much. Yeah. She likes to throw combinations and beat you up to the body with the sweeping left hand, then eventually bring it up top, put combinations together. She's always had angles.
Good level.
Always a good southpaw with the angles and everything. But yeah, she's a puncher and really skilled puncher with good angles as a southpaw, but that's her being herself, basically.
This round looks more like herself.
Yeah. She's
boxing. She's circling the ring. She's counter punching.
Yeah, some good straight left hand knocks Mansour back a little bit there. After she reached with a couple of right hands on the outside, Mansour ties her up with about 12 seconds left in the 10th. This was a good round for Amanda Serrano. She's finding a way to win.
That left over the top of Mansour.
So that hurt her to the body. That was the Vincent. Sometimes the great aging fighters, they give you that little flash, and that sweeping left hand to the body, that was the flash of it. And I was saying before that.
Maybe she can still get the record.
Yeah. If she stays that body.
12th round stoppage to break the record.
I'd take that.
I'd take that.
That would be dope.
I mean, I think we're in for a great close. Look at these women. You look at you can see Serrano talking to herself. She's got her eyes closed. She's like visualizing what she needs to do. This is war.
It's biting down.
She ain't messing around. This ain't no, hey, let me just get out here and take this. No.
Nah, she wants this record. She wants it bad.
Yeah.
I don't know much about the opponent. I wouldn't know the record and everything. I'm sure she's
let's check.
I met her today. She's vicious. Let me tell you, she's got 3 kids. They're all selling candy on the train, but this woman is dangerous.
But that would be a level of, that'd be greatness from Serrano to bite down, past her best, tired, seemingly arm weary. And if she could bite down and get that record tonight, I give her props. Let's see. Starting with that straight left hand of the body. She's working her jab, stepping over to the right. Another left hand knifes right to the midsection. Making Mansour a lot less accurate now, whiffing on shots over the top. Nice sweeping left hand to the body again.
Oh, nice right hook.
Another 2-piece to the body. Straight left hand followed by a right hook to the body. She is invested in that body a lot. Another left hand to the body. Trying to check with the hook over the top.
Well, I just saw Mansour throw that left hand exactly the same way 3 times in a row. Now, you can't do that against Serrano. Like, you are going to get caught. You might get knocked out doing that shit. Like, I'm shocked that Serrano let her get away with that 3 times. Exact same punch. That's what got Leo Santa Cruz knocked out by Tank.
Right.
Yep. This girl's 14-4. That's a record. She's 14-4. She's been stopped 2 times. Most recently by Daniela Bermudez back in September of 2023.
Yeah, this round's got about 25 seconds left. Serrano's landed a lot of body shots this round. Got hit with a big left hook just there. She tried to snatch the body, reaching with the left hand of the body. It doesn't look likely she's going to stop her.
No. She's moving just enough. She's closing the gap just enough. And Serrano's not busy enough to stop her.
Yeah, and the 2 minutes ain't enough time.
Yeah.
Not with Phil who's fighting back this strong.
12th round coming up. But to my eyes, she's won the last 3 rounds that we've tuned in for.
Wait a minute. The first round that we tuned in for, I thought Serrano lost that round.
The 8th round. Yeah. But I only got to see that about halfway through. 9, 10, and 11, the ones we got to really see. Yeah.
Man, it's crazy that this is Amanda Serrano's 55th professional fight tonight.
It looks like it's a 55th professional fight tonight.
Yeah.
She said.
She had 54 already today. Like, yeah.
Let's see. Last round.
Oh, man.
He's going to get this decision, and people in the chat watching this MVP fight, not our chat, but the MVP chat, they're going to be like, Serrano got to get exposed. Yep.
Come on. Give us something to shout about.
Let's see. All right, 12th round's here. And
how long do we think Amanda Serrano fights on? Like how long do you think Amanda Serrano has left in the ring, like before she really does hang on?
This could be it tonight, but I doubt it. She's 37.
I think her trainer, Jordan Chandler, needs to, be looking out for her in that regard. And Jake, I think this is a horse that you got a lot of races out of. And, a
lot of, a lot of hardware too.
So I don't.
How much shelf space do you have?
And she gets hit in all these fights, man. She's getting hit right here in the 12th by left hooks repeatedly. Like,
hey, Sean, check and see if we got a guess.
Why? What's up? Let me see. What you mean?
Oh, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Has anybody tried to join the? Tried to join the show? There we go.
You guys see me?
Yeah. What's up, Ak?
Put your phone the other way. You know how this works.
That Ak?
What's up? I was trying to watch this damn Amanda Serrano fight, but shit was buffering.
That's what we're doing. We're doing a watch along on the fight right now.
I know. I see. I've been listening to you guys throw shots at my girl Amanda, saying she's slow and old.
We're not the ones throwing shots at her.
I mean, she looks slow and old.
He's taking some hell of a shots now from us.
I don't know. I heard y'all talking about her. You know, she's a shell of herself. Maybe she needs to hang it up. Not in those words, but that's what you wanted to say. But I don't know. I don't know what I mean. I tried.
This 12th round crazy. Oh, do you see the closing out round? Just when you were saying she needs to hang around, she took some chin music.
She did.
Like
head snap back and everything. Like
we repeated the phrase "great aging fighter" over and over again. You know what I'm saying? You're seeing a great past her prime who's biting down, still finding a way to win, even when
even when her legs aren't the same, huh?
Yeah, when everything ain't the same, because you've been in so many great fights, Yeah,
it's a brutal sport, man.
Yeah, especially for someone like her who brings it and loves exchanging and getting the better of the exchanges, and
she's fought in like so many weight classes too. She's moved up.
She's a real warrior.
100%.
One of the greats.
She's the one from the island after Cotto retired. It's been her. It hasn't been any of the fellas. It's been her who's had to carry that torch.
True indeed. Indeed.
I mean, what do you think she's still fighting on for? It's not money. She's obviously trying to break a record tonight that she didn't get with the knockout. Why do you think that's?
I think breaking a record it means something to her. I think that was a part of it. Obviously, it's always good to go pick up another check. She's getting paid. She's not fighting for free. And with MVP having this card on TikTok, we can all agree that it's innovative. It's something new.
More visibility.
I think all of those things played a part in this. It makes sense. I mean, I don't think it's bad that she's fighting, but if she can't be fight at a high level, maybe she's done enough. She's done more than any woman has ever done, right? In my opinion, in the 7 weight classes and all that. So this might be it. But I'm saying this without even watching the fight. I couldn't watch it. It kept buffering, and I didn't even see one round.
You think she's done more than every other woman in women's boxing history?
I mean, she's won more. She's won titles in more weight classes. Yeah, I mean, obviously Clarissa has done a lot. With the titles that she's won. That wasn't a shot at Clarissa.
Yeah.
It's just different type of fights, man. Like, I don't want to get into that conversation. I think
I got you.
I think Clarissa.
Do a music
Clarissa's done a lot.
Huh?
Clarissa's done a lot. First off, I like to disclaimer. I think Clarissa.
She got the win.
It's not her fault,
Serrano gets the win by majority decision.
Majority. Oh.
Yeah.
The other girl must have started off very good.
Wow.
Clarissa's somewhere saying, "God don't like ugly."
He's in the parking lot with Papoose doing a freestyle.
Yo, leave Clarissa alone, man. Listen.
Now, listen, we were just saying about that action, Sean and I, about, at least I was saying how I thought it was poor form, the way a lot of our boxing pundits and these social media channels have been digging at Clarissa, like nitpicking her for every little anything. It really speaks poorly of the whole.
She got 21 world titles, man. Like, how many more she got to win?
I mean, look, you can't. Clarissa, she's suffering what Roy suffered from at one point in time, where it's just, there aren't any big names in her division or real threats. But you can't blame her for that. What do you want her to do? To go down to 130? So it's she's doing what the only thing she can do. Beat who they put in front of her. It's not like if there was a really good, talented fight at 160 that she wouldn't fight. She wouldn't avoid fighting anybody. She wants to, you know what I mean? So people are gonna talk, man. You know what I mean? I don't know where the hate for Clarissa comes from. It's wild to me. I don't get it.
There's always something to critique, but she gets so much of it. There's always really plenty to critique with any human being, fighter, whatever, athlete, celebrity. But she gets so much of it that
Beyonce, there's really nothing you can say.
It's OD. People have OD.
Unless it's Beyonce, and then there's really nothing that you could say.
You missed that part, but you missed the part of me correctly describing the way she was sitting on some creepy guy's lap. Who's that?
Who was sitting?
Beyonce.
Listen,
really?
Came on our show trying to shade at Beyonce Knowles.
I didn't see that video. I would love to see that.
I was taking it easy on you, Raheem. If I really wanted to go for the jugular, I'd point out how Michael was an accomplice in this grooming of a 19-year-old Beyonce. He was letting the Hollywood.
It was just black excellence on speakerphone. It's difficult for everybody else in the room to understand. You know what I mean?
There we go.
So she had to sit on this guy's lap. And the guy says, by the way, Beyonce, I got Beyonce here sitting on my lap, Michael. She loves the song. Huh?
I don't even think she was sitting on the guy's lap. He was sitting in a chair that was like catty cornered to her, and it appeared like she was on his lap. It was just because of the angle of the camera. Like, you know what I mean? These things are meant to malign our great heroes, and then years down the line, you got to get the beehive on you. You just can't. We can't talk about the queen that way. I don't think she was even on the lap.
She is the queen. All right, send me that clip. I need to see that pic.
We do.
Who y'all talking about?
When Beyonce sat on the dude's lap because they made her do that.
When it appeared, allegedly.
And then he tells Michael Jackson, quote, "I got Beyonce here sitting on my lap. She loves the new song, blah, 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 blah." And Michael's like, "That's cute." Anyways, but to the point I was making about Clarissa, I'm not mad at people making their content about that. Actually, in a way, I'm happy because it lets me be the positive guy. It's when everyone's favorite fighters, like, their shit doesn't stink and their fans will go after you if you say one thing they don't like, and I gotta be the quote bad guy to point out the other context, the other uncomfortable truths but since everybody is always on Clarissa's case, I get to just be like, oh, she's the quote. Like, I just get to accentuate the positive for once. It's nice for me. So
no, you're right. I mean, there aren't too many out there saying positive things. So
I don't know why it's so hard to say the positive thing. She did win our country 2 gold medals. Nobody's done that in over 20 years. She's 3 times undisputed.
Well, no. To my understanding, no American has ever done that, right? No American has ever done that.
Oh,
yeah.
Man or female.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, that's a good point. But so real quick, we got go ahead, Raheem.
No. Super chat. Go ahead.
Super chat. So, is the Saudis being funny with the money, i.e., Joshua not being paid in full? I'll just say this: there's a fighter I spoke to who's fighting this weekend on the Vegas card, who said he didn't get nearly all the money he was supposed to get in a big fight with Riyadh season, but also told me, who am I going to sue? What am I going to do about it? So I just
wait. So Anthony Joshua says he hasn't been fully paid for some of the fights, that he's done with the Saudis.
Pringa. They're saying he didn't get his full purse for Pringa. Now, I have a theory on
who's saying that, though? Who put that out?
It's Eddie, right?
Was it Eddie?
I can't speak to the original source. I've seen it repeated a few times, but Sean will get on top of it. This is. I
want to know. I want to know if that was like a quote from Eddie Hearn.
Sounds like it.
But while Sean looks that up again, if it is just a rumor, I've heard it multiple times. Right. I tend to believe it.
Eddie Hearn to IFL TV. We're just asking for money that's owed. I don't want to go too much into that because that's a separate time. It's a lot of money. There's another time and place for that. We're not asking for anything new. We're just asking for our contractual obligations to be honored.
Okay, so look, the thing about that is pretty obvious, right? I'm not about to blow anybody's mind with this theory, but they are held up right now because Joshua won't agree to do this Fury fight outside of the United Kingdom, namely in New York. Well, he is making this stand while there's still outstanding funds owed to him for the Pringa fight, right? So you know that the Saudis would potentially be leaning on him. This is a theory. I have no proof or evidence of such, but this is my theory that would make sense if they owe him millions of dollars for this Pringa fight that nobody can get out of them if they don't want to pay it, while he is holding them up from announcing this Joshua Fury fight in New York. Well, the implied motivation for such things would be, listen, go ahead and let us rewrite this contract so you can have this fight in New York. You get your Pringa money, but probably put a little bit of money on top of the contract that you've already signed and let us get on with it. They're going to apply pressure from all angles. The thing about, and I said this in my interview with Eddie Hearn when we were in New York at Barclays, and I put it to him, it's like, listen, man, the truth is that people believe, and we've seen in practice, that what the Saudis do, the reason you have one contract that says one thing and Tyson Fury has a contract that says something else is because they just get you on the paper telling you whatever you want to hear, because they know when the time comes due to make the fight, they're just going to do what they want to do anyway. So they want to get you committed to the fight. And then down the line, when they figure out what they really want to do, they'll just change it and strong arm you into doing what they want done. You have so much business with these people. They clearly can't really be held accountable or held in check by the amount of people that are suing them and the amount of things that they're able to do in the sport that really usually generally aren't allowed. What like your man said, what is your recourse going to be? I didn't say all of this to Eddie. I just put it to him very flatly that it seems like they write contracts telling you what they want, what you want to hear. And then when they need to change them, they just change them and you can't do anything about it. He claims that's not the case, but that does appear to be the case, right?
I think he'll get his money before this. I think that statement that Eddie put out was enough where they're being painted in a bad light that they're gonna fix that ASAP, because the Saudis don't want to look like they don't pay their debt or pay what they owe. I think that's going to be fixed in the next couple of days, and this fight is going to be finalized.
I think this fight is going to be finalized, and then they'll fix it in the next couple of days after that.
I disagree with that. I think the Saudis are going to pay their debt.
Well, Ak's from New York, right? Ak, you're from which part of New York again?
I'm from Brooklyn, New York.
Same here, but not like you are. You're really from Brooklyn, New York. But
I'm really from Brooklyn.
And you sounded very New York when you said that. You can't be walking around New York in the 5 boroughs with a reputation of not paying your debt, right? It'll get bad.
You cannot.
Well, I mean, it makes sense.
I tell you one thing. Whenever any fight weeks that I've worked for the ring, I got paid promptly. I never had an issue. I'll just say that. You know, I mean, obviously that's money on a way bigger scale than HA. Still in auto, my experiences have been phenomenal.
Yeah, so has Joshua's until he did something they didn't like. Yeah, everybody's experience is great as long as you're playing ball. As soon as he stopped playing ball, all of a sudden the game got to stop.
I mean, I love your theories, Radio. You know what I'm saying? But nobody's dangling money that they owe you already for you to agree to fight in New York. Hey, I know we owe you X amount of millions, so you better agree to this before. Nah, come on. That sounds good. That's not.
Sounds terrible. It looks like what's happening. I mean, has the man been paid or not? When was the Pringa fight? What are we waiting on? I think we're waiting on the computer drop.
It's not like it's not the first time we've heard about fighters getting paid well after their bout. You know, Al Heyman has a reputation of that, right?
Yes, I mean, go on.
The
you want to mention Don King as well? How far down this road are we going to go, huh?
My point exactly. You act like it's something new.
You act like it's something that's not even happening.
They're fitting right into the sport.
and it's happening again on a much bigger scale. This time, though, I think because, and I respect it, I think Joshua at the minute is standing on business. I believe that he would be a hero that the word hero doesn't even encapsulate, isn't even sufficient to describe what it would mean to those British fans if Anthony Joshua alone stood against the Saudis, against Netflix, against whatever Zuffa's involvement is, against Turkey, against Tyson
then
Fury.
The fight won't happen.
But now, if we're going to talk about contracts, then there will be a breach of contract. They're putting pressure on this man to change a contract that they've already signed and agreed the number figure for. It's not like they're asking him to negotiate for a contract to be drafted. They're saying change it, because when they made the contract, they never intended to hold true to it. That's also the insult to the injury. And to treat these British fans like this in the 11th hour and potentially the final fight, they've already lost so many Joshua and Fury fights to Saudi, while the British fans have been the only reason that these guys have had the level of notoriety and the sustained fan base that they've had throughout their careers. And now at the end, the one fight that they've been waiting for 12 years, they're going to take it to New York and have to get up.
Hey, listen, the Brits are going to fly to New York. It's just another reason they love NY, another reason for them to, as they say, a holiday, to take a holiday, to go to New York. They're all going to fly out there, and the garden's going to be full of Brits.
It's a lot less. It's a lot less.
No. They'll be full of very affluent people who are invited to the show, and somebody who spends their mortgage and their car payment to get out there and breaks up their marriage.
And the rest will pay.
Fury.
And the rest will pay for it, Bobby.
They've been doing that for the past 5 years. Like, how much are you gonna take out of these people? Now, I know, because you're from Brooklyn, I imagine you can't walk down the block without somebody asking you about Joshua Fury, right? Last time you was in Brooklyn, how many people asked you what your thoughts were on Joshua Fury?
But we know that's not what it's about. No, it's not that they're salivating. New York is salivating for the fight. No, but this is a pay-per-view business. The Brits will be able to buy the fight, right? Why can't we look at it as AJ going back into the world's most famous arena, righting the wrong from 2019?
Well, I would say because it's not that. That's why we can't look at it that way.
Correct.
There has to be something to stop. If AJ goes in there and knocks Fury out, hold on. If AJ goes into MSG and knocks Fury out, you telling me there's no nostalgia there about him taking his first L in that building and being stopped and coming and knocking out the heavyweight in the world's most famous arena that nobody felt he can beat? Now people are saying, because they feel like Fury is declining, AJ has a shot. But when they first started talking about that fight, nobody gave AJ a chance in hell. You don't think that's a nice ending, a nice bow to this story? He took his first L at the Garden. No. Listen, as much as we love the Brits and the British fans, there's no place like America for a prize fight.
In a garden full of people who couldn't care less. And he's going back to the place of a trauma where he was beaten.
That's where you have to go to
from an underdog who was a last minute replacement because the American was cheating that fighter replaced. Then he went on to avenge that loss in Saudi, again, not in London. Now he's fighting a Tyson Fury who just had maybe one of the shittiest fights that could have done the most damage to selling this fight as possible, getting up off the canvas after 2 knockdowns in his first round in his own fight against Pringa, who apparently he's not even being paid for. so that he can come back in the second round at Madison Square Garden to fight on Netflix, full of executives and their best friends and a few Brits who can afford a 3,000-pound trip to New York to watch the fighter that they've been supporting their whole career.
A few Brits. That's a travesty. 20,000 Brits, not a few. It's going to be a sold-out arena. And guess what?
Traveling to New York for this fight, but not because they won't want to, but because they can't afford to.
10,000 Brits will be in the Garden. 10,000 Brits will be in the Garden.
That's still not. That's not 90,000 Brits, and both these guys are on the wrong side of 30. This fight doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean what it used to mean
at all.
The only fight that Anthony
but why are we acting? Why are we acting like we all have been to every fight that we've watched? Like growing up, I didn't go to fights when I was a kid. I watched them on TV. Why are we acting like everybody that watches a fight has to be in the building? It's not realistic. It's not even. It doesn't happen. There's only a select few people.
We're talking about British people, and that is what they do. That's why they have the greatest fan base in the entire sport. That's
the British fans built these guys.
Often, hold on, BT. That's why often we move to London, because that is the epicenter of boxing, because that's where the most avid boxing fans are. That's why when the main event comes on, the place has already been packed with people in their seats for the last 5 fights, because they actually care enough to show up. That's why that's where the small hall shows are packed out at Copper Box, at York Hall, on any given Friday or Saturday, because those people care enough to do that, and they've been doing it for these two lugs for the last 12 years, and now they're going to get their dream fight ripped away from them so a bunch of executives can golf clap these assholes into retirement.
I'm not questioning the fans in the UK. I've been there. Yes, they're great boxing fans. Absolutely, it's great. All of those people bitching and moaning about not being able to go to Wembley and sit there are going to watch it. They're going to pay for the pay-per-view wherever the fight is, right? They're all going to watch it and pay their £25 because they pay a lot cheaper than we do, and the tickets are a lot cheaper. That's why they can put 80,000 people in seats. If those tickets at Wembley were the same prices they are at Vegas, right? When Canelo or Floyd fight, there wouldn't be 80,000 people in there.
You're making my point. They care more, so they make their ticket prices available. It won't be a pay-per-view because it's going to be on Netflix. They shouldn't have to pay £3,000 to go to New York.
You're right. You're right. Hold up. Wait a minute. Wait, you just made it even better. It's going to be free on Netflix. They don't even have to pay for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but
at 4 a.m.
But it's not going to say
they're willing to pay for it. At home.
Look, it's just flat out wrong. It shouldn't be in America. We don't care about it. They do. It's that simple. We don't give a shit about this fight. Both these guys are almost 40. It doesn't matter like it used to. That's it. The only time AJ should come to America is to fight Deontay Wilder. That's the only fight left in America.
And the problem with the redemption story at the Garden, when George Foreman had his redemption story at the MGM Grand, it was when he knocked out Michael Moore. It actually was redemption, wearing the same trunks from 20 years ago when he lost in the Rumble of the Jungle, because he was actually winning the heavyweight title back that he lost. And Joshua is not winning back any heavyweight title. It's too well past the way I look at it. Look, it's a lot of hoopla about a fight that's really not, in terms of substance to the heavyweight division, that important. And we were lucky enough for Mayweather-Pacquiao 2 to fall through. Why can't we be lucky enough for this fight to fall through too for Netflix?
We were also lucky enough to lose Jake Paul and Tank Davis.
Exactly. We lost Jake Paul and Tank Davis. Thank the good Lord. We lost Mayweather-Pacquiao too. Thank you, good Lord. Let's go for the trifecta here and just lose Joshua Fury altogether, bro. Let's just call it a day. All right. You deserve.
Let's not do AJ and Fury that dirty. They're not that fight. There's still a desire for that fight. But we're not gonna lose it. That fight is gonna happen in New York City, folks.
No,
remember, it's gonna happen in New York City.
Yeah.
Trust me. Oh, we agree. I just think it's a Travis Shine mockery that's what's going to happen.
Hey, my boy Hello? Can y'all
Yeah.
hear me? Because I can't hear you. I'm muted.
Yeah.
What's up with this?
We can hear you.
I can hear you.
We hear you, Ark.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes. Yes.
I can't hear you. I can't hear you
That-
guys.
that-
But
that-
radio
We can see
moves to London, and all of a sudden he's freaking the British boxing fan advocate right here, and is going hard for these
Exactly.
Brits.
He's flying the
Like,
Union Jack.
I believe.
Where's this
the term
energy
you're looking
coming
for
from?
is people
Hold on, I
champions.
can't hear you. I
You're
can't hear you.
people-
Fix this, you
I
guys.
know you
I
can't
don't
hear
know.
it.
I don't know what
you
I'm
got all
doing.
That, you got all that money in your ears. You got
You're
all that
all
DAZN
muted.
money clogging up your eardrums.
Let me go out and back in.
What's the
All
Busta Rhymes song? A-Rap Money.
Yeah, get your passport ready.
What? How is this a thing in boxing? Like, this fight doesn't mean anything. Like, it's cool. I mean, Fury and Joshua are names that, like, in the
glorified
grand scheme of
Camacho
things,
Leonard.
I can't even. Now I can't hear you. Now I'm like, I can't hear you.
I got you.
Back to the
Audio.
glorified
I'm the only
Camacho
one
versus
who
Leonard.
Nah,
Continue.
it's ridiculous.
What was that about Camacho?
I said back to the glorified Camacho versus Leonard. Continue.
I was so happy about that knockout victory. I remember that, man. Woo. That was a good day for Puerto Ricans. But anyway,
Brendan's Puerto
you
Rican.
guys are muted again. I don't know what the hell is going on with your live. I can't hear anything.
It's falling apart.
Yeah,
All right.
I think that
Got
might
you.
be your
I
reception.
can hear you
bro,
guys
because
now.
we can hear each other.
Okay.
Go ahead.
What else we got, Sean? We got any more
We got
topics from the
someone
audience?
saying you guys got the juice now. Legendary stream so far. We need this every week. The chemistry's on point. So thank you for that.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yes.
And
Thank you, Ak, for joining the team. This is fantastic.
I'm muted. Can't hear shit.
Can you hear me?
Now I hear somebody laughing, giggle there.
There's Brendan.
Who's
ask
that
us
in the
who we
chat
got
there?
tomorrow night.
Huh?
Brendan,
I'm reading
ask
the
us who we
chat
got tomorrow
messages.
night.
Joey.
Who do you have tomorrow night? Who you picking for the fight between Tio and Rolly?
Teofimo is going to stop Rolly in between 7 and 9 rounds.
He's got Tio stopping Rolly between 7 and 9.
No, I
That's
heard.
right.
Okay.
I can hear him. He's the only,
He's
with the problem.
Okay.
I hope he puts some punches together, but that's my take.
He definitely needs to moving up a weight. You know, fighting a naturally bigger guy. You know, be accurate. I think it's going to the full distance. I got Tio on points.
I think the Ryan fight has everybody fooled when it comes to Rolly. That Ryan victory got everybody so forgetful about the Pitbull fight, about who. Look, I think Rolly's a threat, no doubt. I think he can possibly hurt Tio. I'm not saying he's not a dangerous fighter, but I just think that people keep thinking about the Ryan fight, and Ryan did not pull the trigger that entire fight after that second round. And I just don't think we're going to see anything close to that. I think Tio is going to put some punches together. And that's my prediction. I could be wrong, but I love jumping out the window like that. So I can come back here next week, you know what I'm saying, and let you guys know what I'm talking about.
For sure.
Can you hear me, Ak?
Can you hear me?
No.
I can hear Ak.
What?
I can hear.
Well,
All right.
you
Ask
guys
him.
are Puerto Ricans, so no, go ahead.
I can't hear Sean or radio.
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
What are they saying? I can hear you. What are they saying?
Is BT gonna look up a radio? Go ahead.
Ask him, does he think that Senior will be able to help Junior in the corner if Junior finds himself in trouble?
So
does he think Senior's going to be able to step up?
They want to know from you, Ak, do you think Teofimo Senior will be able to help Teofimo Lopez in the corner if, let's say, he gets knocked down or any sort of trouble arises? Do you think he has the right? Could he give him the right instructions and have a moment where he can guide his son to victory?
Thanks for translating.
You really want me to answer that?
Yeah, yeah, answer it. Yeah.
I got love for Tio. I'm gonna skip that question.
Okay, he said he's gonna plead the fifth. Skip the question.
Complete the fifth. Complete the fifth. I think Tio would know what to do in there.
Yeah, he
He'll
he
figure
says
it out.
Tio
Yeah,
will know what to do when the moment
Just find
comes.
his power.
Yes.
Are you coming to the UK, BT?
I don't know if I'm hitting.
Yes, I am. I'm going to the Tom Hergovich fight. I'll be there.
Oh, I'm gonna be in Kazakhstan.
So we got boots on the ground for next week, Raheem.
You gotta do what?
We got boots on the ground for next week. The show.
The UK.
Yeah.
But look, I can't hear
Um,
you guys. So y'all got any other questions for Because he can't hear y'all, but for some reason he can hear me. I don't know if it's like
I don't know. Radio and Sean, what's up with your mics, bro?
Yeah.
Turn your shit
You really
off
think
and
it's
on. I
us,
think y'all gotta leave
you?
and come
You're
back.
like you're the only one having a problem. See, this is that Brooklyn shit. You know what I'm talking about?
You hear me now?
There's 3 people here that are functioning properly, and the
Turn
Brooklyn
your
guy's
shit
like,
off.
"What the fuck
We
is
taking
wrong
over the
with
show
you?"
now. Go.
That's right.
Restart your internet, man.
Are you Puerto Rican?
Yes.
The Puerto Ricans are taking over. Only the Puerto Ricans have working internet.
I'm half Puerto Rican and half West Indian.
Oh, okay. But apparently the chat says they can hear all of us.
Oh, really? See,
Yeah,
I can't hear. I just see
but-
radio. I just see radio running his mouth, but I can't hear what the fuck he's saying.
Tell him to put on his subtitles so he'll know what to think.
Yeah, he says, put on your subtitles so that they know what to think.
Wait, can you hear radio and Sean?
Yes, I can. I become the middleman apparently.
You've
Can
been
you
trained.
tell?
They're telling me what to ask you, and I'm asking.
Clearly, the problem.
Yeah, the radio says that you're clearly the problem in all this. Yeah.
It is me. I'm coming out of nowhere, left field.
Yeah.
I was an hour late when radio texted me the link. I just saw it. I said, let me hop on and see if they're still on here.
Would y'all like to only get a?
I'm still on East Coast time, so I'm about to take it down, fellas.
All right.
It's been a pleasure chopping it up with y'all.
All right.
So peace and love. I
appreciate you coming through.
Later, bro.
Thank you.
Damn. Maybe we all should have taken more Saudi money because his backdrop looked a lot more luxurious.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right?
Right.
Yeah.
Getting A-Rap money.
Clear heart.
Dun, 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 dun.
Well,
Rhyme song.
Almost time to go get.
All right, guys, 3 minutes. Let's do 3 more minutes. Yeah.
Hit us with one more topic.
Let's clear the chat.
Come on, give us some fastballs, guys. What's your best fastball questions?
Yeah. Come for the head.
That was funny playing middleman, like playing translator.
You speaking in your native Puerto Rican tongue, back and forth. It was beautiful.
That's right.
Yeah. Bootleg.
Was Ak a fighter?
Man, I'm kind of bummed.
Ak can fight.
I am kind of bummed, BT, that you're gonna hit London. I won't be there. That kind of sucks. I would like to have. Wait, you know your way around London? You've been
no, I went to the UK one time, like 7 years ago, but I wasn't in London.
Okay, here we go.
Damn.
This should be a good one for you, Raheem and Brendan. Hey,
Okay.
you want to trigger Brendan? Watch this. You ready?
Ready? God.
Moses Natama's gonna knock Philip Hergovich the fuck out. Brendan.
Well, that's not crazy, but like that's not crazy. I think I can have it myself. But you're acting like it's a what pisses me off about the fight is just that everyone's just so quick to give a guy who really hasn't fought anyone worth half a damn. Like they just give him all this benefit of the doubt. You know, like let the kid actually show that he is that. Like let him show that he's that. And if he shows, then fair play to him.
Yeah, he's speaking to Raheem. Right, now he's speaking Raheem's language.
the amount of excitement that we have around a guy who has yet to show that he has the actual ability to accomplish what we see as the potential is a bit nauseating. Not because I don't want him to succeed, not even because I don't see the potential for talent, but in this boxing, potential is not accomplishment. And once we start putting that cart before the horse, we can really make fools of ourselves and show why boxing analysis is really just a bunch of emotion, because the number of fighters whose names most people won't remember, but Sean will, BT will, who never did come to fruition, who never did make the mark when they came out of the gates. And now, if we're not talking boxing, you can talk NFL draft, you can talk NBA draft. I mean, how many times have we heard about an athlete that was supposed to take over the world and change the game, whatever game it was, and it just never happened for a multitude of reasons? Boxing is the most isolating sport of them all, and any number of things can derail your fast track rocket ship to stardom. A personal issue, an injury. Maybe you don't have the chin that people think you do, and when it gets tested, it's never the same again. Maybe you get upset early in your career and find out if your confidence is good enough, if your team is strong enough, if you really can come back. Hey, has anybody heard from Jared Anderson? Yeah. I thought he was the next great American hope. Where's he at? You know what I'm talking about? You got to do it, man. You can't just talk through it. And to be fair, that's not a knock on Atama, because he's not embracing all that. He's not the one out there talking all that about himself. But if you are that guy, it's hard to not let water seep through the rock. Like, he's getting so much attention from that way. I'd imagine that part of what he has to do to maintain his focus and to keep his head in the right place is to actively ignore that and to actively not accept those accolades until he's earned them, which will serve him well when it gets tight in there, and to not think too much of himself and to not think that he's already done what he has yet to do. Everybody talking like it's already a done deal. He's just going to walk through every single heavyweight in the division. It's just a matter of time. I think could be right, but you're not. That's the thing. You're not yet. And as good as he appears to be, as he just might fulfill this potential, I've not seen nearly enough to bet the house on it. I need to see this happen in the ring. I mean, this isn't a small step up. This is a huge step up.
He's climbing.
Even Hrgovic is, again, not near the best of the heavyweights that we have to offer. Thomas got a lot more work to do, I think, before he lives into what they're prescribing for him. Which is not me suggesting that he can't, but I think the story of how he does and if he does is a lot more interesting than the talk from those who think it's a done deal already.
I think four out of the 14 opponents he's fought have a losing or a 500 record.
I think he's a special talent. I think he does, between the hand speed, power, southpaw, coordination, fluidity, the sometimes he has a balance to him like he's Shakur, but at heavyweight, all that stuff. But no one's really punched him or punched at him with a real level of threat. And Hrgovic is going to fill that bill better than anyone else he's been in the ring with. I think he knocks Hrgovic out. But it would be interesting. The suspense in this fight is, does he have to take a right hand? Does he get buckled for the first time? Does he get hurt for the first time? How's he going to respond to that? And, he's still getting away with things by being just so much more talented than other fighters. There are times, we went back and rewatched him the other night against Jermaine Franklin. He leads with a straight left hand to the body, and that right hand comes down a little bit. He pulls out every now and then because he's so quick on the step back for the heavyweight division, but he pulls out and the chin is up a little bit, or he pulls out again with the lead hand down below the chin a little bit. And these are little things he's getting away with against 6'1" Jermaine Franklin, against the
hopping in and out, back and forth.
Right. And getting away with that because he's got such good bounce in his step in the heavyweight division, but against who? And, maybe Hrgovic can finally provide the threat and the resistance he needs to go through at some point. If not, I just think Hrgovic doesn't move his head and is going to get knocked out at some point because Atama is a hell of a talent. But what's been disappointing about him, for me, you go back and watch the great features on HBO back in the day, and when you meet a young champion, they were either, simmering with competitiveness and fire like James Toney, or bright-eyed, wanting to be a star like Oscar De La Hoya, or hungry and competitive like Fernando Vargas. And he's so sullen and sulks and moody and woe is me almost, when it's like everybody wants to push these jewels in front of you as the next great heavyweight and the heir to the British throne. And he's like, oh, but it sucks. It sucks. And
he even said he even said that he was getting tired of boxing till he met Ben Davison.
Right.
So young. Like, what are you tired of? You just got here. Now, to cut him some slack, he is looking up to an era that has fed him that. And that includes the Floyds, the Terrences, and even the Andres. If you're always feeding the next generation after you a steady diet of they're never going to give you your credit, and the media doesn't care about you, the fans don't care about you, and, get your money and get out of there in one piece. And I understand all that, but the fighters I'm talking about, the Fernandos, the Tonys, the Oscars, they were fed a steady diet of, I want to be the best, and I'm the best in the world. And I want, they were preceded by fighters who loved glory and okay, the other night we're watching Trinidad Mayorga again for commemoration of a Rolly Romero A-side fight week in Las Vegas. Watching lots of Mayorga fights. Trinidad, he's coming to the ring. He's beating his chest with all the Puerto Ricans in New York. And Larry Merchant says, Trinidad, I've never talked to an athlete as much as Trinidad who admitted he missed the sound of the crowd. He missed the sound of the cheers from the crowd. And that used to be our gift as boxing fans. And sometimes to their detriment, to Floyd and Terrence and Andre's point. Sometimes that wanting to hear that thrill from the audience is what would get them hurt sometimes and placed in really dangerous, brutal fights. But it was to our delight. And, Italma being fed a steady diet of that from the best fighters he's grown up watching, that's part of what that influence is seeping through from right there. So that's kind of disappointing. And, but that's what he's been fed. That's what he's been taught and influenced by. So, and the real point of consequence against that is, what is that going to mean in the ring? If you're already not having fun with boxing, when you're the one dishing out everything, and I did enough boxing to remember that's when it's pretty fun, is when it's either on an even level, you can get your shit off too. It's not fun when you're getting your ass whooped. That's the part it's really not fun about. That's the part where you don't really want to do it anymore and want to go do something else with your time that day. But when you're either giving as good as you got, or when you're in control in there, that's when boxing's fun. And if you're already not having fun when you're detonating on people and knocking them out like it's the opening montage of Rocky III, then how are you going to feel when it gets shitty in there, when you're the one getting punched on and punished on? So, but I think ultimately that's the temperament downloaded from what he's grown up and seen. And I would like to think that when things do get tough in there, the kind of talent that's embedded in him from God, that there's going to be something in the chest and between the ears that's going to accompany all that talent, although that's not always the case. And that's the kind of questions we have to see answered in a young, promising heavyweight like his own.
Well, I think we've answered enough questions tonight, fellas. It's getting long in the tooth here. We've all got a show tomorrow as well, so let's not burn it all the way out. This exceeded even my expectations, which were sky high. I appreciate everybody watching, throwing some dollars in the chat, letting us shake it for these 1s and 2s and 5s and 10s. This is excellent. All right, we can't let as long as they're putting money in the waistband, we gotta at least shout them out. Go ahead, Sean. Hit us with the super chats. But I don't want to. I can't. We can't keep going. I gotta fucking pay.
Moses fight Dubois next. We will see BT and link up. Someone asked what percentage would we like to see. One super chat was, would we like to see Rolly get a crazy knockout? Not really. I to be honest with you, I think Rolly getting a knockout, if it's insufferable now for some of us, it'll only get worse than what he's been saying. But it would be exciting for the boxing world. I'm not going to say it's not. Thank you, C. Miller, for the super sticker. One more here. Tataran says, this show is cool. Can we get more of this? Yes, you can.
Absolutely.
And will we see more guests in here? Yes, that would be the plan. This is the pilot, impromptu pilot, not advertised at all or anything like that. Yeah. Can Andrade and Jimmy Birchfield on here? I don't know who Jimmy Birchfield is.
Birchfield is the promoter for CES Boxing. He's like a regional
he's
promoter.
A fan now.
No, I don't, sorry. I saw it, Birchfield. Forgive me. Again, there was that. Would you like to see Rolly get a crazy knockout? And then Jermaine Howlett earlier, he did ask, what percentage of fighters do we think are on PEDs? I'm going to just talk, pure speculation, say as low as 20, 25%, as high as 80. Yeah, as high as like 80%. Right. All right.
Well, I'll go 85.
There you go. So, all right. But probably your favorite fighter. So, all right, let's have I'm sure that'll get us more guests off the show, by the way. So, all right, everybody, take care.
We got a test for the show. Sorry. Yeah. Anybody come to the show's got to. We got random drug testing.
Random drug testing.
But then we couldn't have gotten. Then we couldn't have gotten Ak on with that crazy take. So
yeah, see, if they have the clear, Raheem, then what would our drug test mean? Nothing.
Yeah.
So all right. Bye, everybody.
All right, we out of the phone. Good night.